What's going on YouTube? What's going on Facebook? I appreciate you guys so much for being here. So I have a little printout. I got the Israeli data, the cases, the deaths. I want to do a little comparison on August 30th, 2021 and August 30th, 2020. And I think this story is being reported a little bit in mainstream media, but a lot of politicians, a lot of leaders, I think it's inconvenient. And I know what they said in March. I know what they said in February. I've been covering it here a lot, what they said in April, May, June, but it's worth talking about. And that's what the story is going to be about today. And then I'll hang out and answer some questions. But Bloomberg reported today that Israel reports record new COVID cases as booster drive expands. So now in Israel, I talk about them a lot because I think they're one of the best studies of a single vaccine. They're all taking the Pfizer out there. So I'm just going to read some of the numbers for you guys aloud. It's really good. And if your boss is trying to force you to do stuff, in my opinion, I think you should bring up stuff like this. I mean, I'm not anyone's financial advisor, medical advisor, job advisor. I'm not telling anybody to or to not do something. But in my opinion, if somebody came to me and said, Anomaly, you have to do what I tell you to do medically or whatever. And if you don't do it, you lose this. I would start. I mean, listen, I'd have 20 printouts in my hand and we could go through this stuff. But right now in Israel, over 2.2 or around 2 million people, over 2 million people have 3 shots. So 2 shots in the booster. I think it's around 6 million people, 5.5, 6 million people have 2 jabs. Over 60% of their population has 2 of them now. And it's just fascinating that their cases are higher and even their deaths are higher than last August 30th. So I got the data right here. I know it's, they say the truth is a dangerous weapon, but it's like I come in peace. I got the graphs and I'm reading them and I just want to come to my own conclusion. So I hope that's still allowed. As we know here, we stay calm, we stay optimistic, but we do live in a medical authoritarian state where we are led by people who act like you're not allowed to tell the science, you're not allowed to have the data. And if you disagree with their agenda, they get really upset. They say, oh, we didn't know in April. And it's like, did you not know because you made a mistake? That's okay. Or did you not know because they're so focused on selling you a product. They're so focused on pushing an agenda. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're wrong all the time. I think they don't have any interest in being right. And this is something that spans political parties. Of course, one political party is a little bit worse. I think a lot of people here see that. But both parties are selling this product. And I don't think they have any intention of stopping or considering or, shifting, moving onto some new agenda that they could talk about, maybe back to building the wall or something. It's like, I feel like this is like a new era that isn't ending quite as early as people thought. But that's what it is. So before I start, thank you guys for being here. Facebook, I didn't do a live stream for supporters only. So I'm thinking Thursday. I kind of got caught up today, but I'm thinking Thursday safe. Tomorrow I'll put out a message and say on Thursday we'll do a supporters only. Sorry, I just got crazy caught up today. So we'll do 2 for September. We'll do one very early on and then we'll do one later. Sorry about the delay. And thank you everybody on Patreon. I will answer your messages this week. It's been a whirlwind and I always default to getting my work done. So that's what it is. All right, so let's go through this stuff real quick. I just have 4 printouts. You can see them on YouTube, Facebook. I'll just read it aloud for you. So you could get this on multiple websites. You could just Google it right there. They have Johns Hopkins University stats. So it's pretty standard. It's not controversial. It's not like I don't think anybody's disagreeing with these numbers on Google. That's why they put them there, Google. This is August 30th, 2021. This is Monday. Monday in Israel, there were 9,879 new cases, right? Almost 10,000 new cases. There were 54 deaths, according to the data, on August 30th. Now let's go back to, I have last August 30th. So August 30th, 2020, that's when we had no coronavirus vaccine. They didn't have 5.5 million people double vaccinated. They didn't have 2-point-something million people 3 jabs. They didn't have all these. There were only 1,101 cases. So that's like what? Almost 9-10 times less than they have now. And they had 14 deaths. So last August, 14 deaths. This August, what was it? 50-something deaths, 54 deaths. I'm no scientist, I'm no expert, but if that looks like success, I would hate to see what failure looks like. To me, success is we roll out a vaccine and, there's less cases and less deaths. But according to the media, success to them is like 10 times as many cases, like 4 or 5 times as many deaths as the day on last year. I mean, yeah, for sure. I get that they're saying it prevents severe illness, but If that's success, I would hate to see what failure looks like. I really would, because I don't think, I mean, they're going to say what they want to say, but if you read their news articles, and I always try to explain to people how I get to this conclusion, you could find news articles where they're saying the experts are saying that Israel's on its path to herd immunity. This is back in February, March, when they're vaccine. The experts are saying that they are going to defeat COVID. They are on the path. They are the model of the world. And now they're like, well, remember how we told you herd immunity was coming and Israel was going to reach it before us? Well, actually, we think that herd immunity is mythical now because of the Delta variant. So just in a few months, it goes from like imminent to mythical. And then this is a New York Times. I just printed out just to show the censors. This is real information. This is from a few weeks ago. It says Israel, once the model for beating COVID, faces a new surge of infections. It says one of the most vaccinated, this is New York Times, not Anomaly, New York Times. One of the most vaccinated societies in Israel now has one of the highest infection rates in the world, raising questions about the vaccine's efficacy. So New York Times is allowed to question the efficacy. Remember this, folks. This is who these authoritarians think you are. It's really disgusting. It's like, this is New York Times, liberal-leaning mainstream media publication. They can question in their title. They could say, we question the vaccine's efficacy. You can't do that, though. I can't do that. I'm a peasant. You're a peasant. You're not allowed to question that stuff. You just have to get in line. They want to just bully you, shove it down your throat, treat you like an animal, say you can't work somewhere, say you can't use a spa, say you can't hang out with your family. They want to treat you like crap. So just understand, it's like a tiered process. It's like if you have money and you go to a restaurant, you don't have to wear a mask, right? If you're a server or a bartender or the guy who, cleans up afterwards, they want you to wear a mask, not the wealthy people who eat it. Like it's a caste system. At what point is there science that says that if if I have money and I eat at a restaurant, I'm so much better than the bartender or I'm so much better than the waitress? There's no science that says that. We're all humans. Nobody's better than anybody else in terms of like what they deserve when it comes to that. So why in the world would they only mask, waitresses and busboys? It's because it's like a new caste system. It's like, literally, New York Times is questioning it, but your life will be destroyed like Alex Berenson if you question it. So it's just such a joke. And I'm going to read from this New York Times article. Straight from the New York Times article, they're admitting, unlike America, I'm sorry, but the CDC America, they're using very deceptive numbers and they're not explaining it. They're like 97% of people. It's like, where did those numbers come from? Are they from this month, last month? Are you measuring 6, 7, 8 months where the first 3 or 4 months, people weren't even getting vaccinated yet? And now you're mushing those numbers together and being like, look at the number. They're way more dishonest in America. So Israel is, I think, a little more straightforward with it. And this is right from the New York Times article. It says, unlike previous epicenters of infection in Israel's crowded, less vaccinated, ultra-Orthodox communities, this scourge primarily took hold in well-vaccinated middle-class suburbs. So they're admitting in Israel right now, it's not just the Orthodox, it's not just the people who don't want the jab, it's the well-vaccinated suburbs that are facing a surge of infections as well. So I'm just going to go through the numbers real quick. In Israel, according to Google, and I'm also looking at Bloomberg, John Hopkins, they vary a little bit. For the most part, they're the same. It says at least one dose has been in 65.9% of the population. That's around 6 million people. It says, and this is the hilarious part. So I'm going to just show you how bad the experts are and how bad Google is. Like they can't even keep up with their own rules. Ready? It's going to be hilarious. So Wall Street Journal reports today, this is Wall Street Journal, in Israel, being fully vaccinated now means 3 shots. So they're getting it official. If you don't have your booster shot, you are no longer fully vaccinated in Israel. That's what Wall Street Journal is saying. So, okay, 2 shots is not fully vaccinated anymore. You need your booster. If you go to Google, they have the statistics right on Google. If you search Israel vaccination rate, it says fully vaccinated is 60.6%. So they're claiming on Google, there's 5.5 million people about that are fully vaccinated. Google's actually wrong because Israel doesn't consider 2 jab people to be fully vaccinated anymore. And there's only around, I think, 2.1 million or so people fully vaccinated with the 3 booster shots in Israel. So Google's lying to people, or they can't keep up with the rules there. They're like, no, 60. It's like, no. You need your 3rd one. So let's let the people at Google, the people who do the data, John Hopkins, it's time to sit down at the computer. It's time to be a little more professional because getting 2 jabs in Israel is not fully vaccinated anymore. And I would hate to see you guys at Google and John Hopkins, whoever's running the show there at the Google numbers and data. I'd hate to see you mislead people because it's very, very important that people understand that you need your third booster in Israel to be fully vaccinated. So let's not go running around out here, Google, telling people, well, you got two, you're good to go. That's not the rules. Look at the Wall Street Journal, listen to the Israeli health minister. You need your booster boy, and that's in Israel. So it's just interesting. I'm going to read again, and you can look up this stuff, because if I was, and I'm going to tell you real quick, if I had a boss and he said, Anomaly, you can't work here unless you get the jab. If I wanted to get it, I would get it. If I didn't want to get it, I wouldn't get it. I don't let somebody tell me what. So I would say, well, it's interesting that you say I have to get it, because I have the Israeli data right here. I have a CNBC article that says the Moderna and Pfizer have no liability for side effects. So do you have liability for side effects? I have this article that says herd immunity is coming, and I have this article that says herd immunity is mythical. I have this article that says that the CDC director says that if you get the vaccine that you can't spread the virus. And then I have this newer article where the same CDC director says that you can spread the virus and get the virus if you get the vaccine. So I would hand them all that information, mainstream sources, just like I do my videos. If you watch my videos enough, you already know it. You could Google all the stuff that I share and I talk about, and I would stack them up and say, they don't know this stuff. Your bosses are bullies. Their followers, a lot of them, they don't know the science. They don't know the data. They don't know efficacy rates. They don't know that, Israel was reporting earlier this year that it was 95% effective, the Pfizer. And they don't know that then they said it was 39% effective, and there's the Delta. And so they're just going to keep bullying the crap out of people. And I hate to see it. And I think this is why I'm getting misconstrued. And I don't care. I'll take a few arrows for this, because millions of people in America, nurses, everybody, I don't have to go through all the professions. You get it, are being told by their boss, if you don't get double jabbed, you can't work here. You're not going to be able to work here. They're bringing out like slave and prison rules. They're like, if you get it, only Zoom calls. You can't eat in the same restaurants. They're literally treating people like crap. It's like they're taking us back to like the 1800s or the 1700s. And they're just like, you can't even eat around us. And like, people don't know what to do for two reasons. One, it's creepy and it's scary. And also there's no real leaders in politics who care about this stuff. And this is why I'm getting so much heat. You have a two-party system. One's being led by Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I feel like he's on the course of pooping his pants. He's checking his watch. I'm not saying he wears a diaper, but I think at a certain point, it would be a good idea to wear a diaper just in case. We all have mistakes, but especially when you're in Biden's mind state, you might squeak one out. So, that's leading the Democratic Party. He's a vaccine salesman, right? Get it, get it, get it. They're all saying, get it, get it. Jen Psaki says, get it, get it. But Google Jen Psaki, White House staff. Are they mandated to get the vaccine? Last I read, they weren't mandated a couple months ago. So that's weird. Moderna, actually, Google if Moderna is mandating on their employees. They're not. I believe the other companies are. Look up that stuff. Don't take my word for it. But anyway, that's the Democratic Party selling this product. And then you go to the Republican Party, Trump, DeSantis, all of the people that, a lot of people on the right love, they're selling the product too. So this is why I say this stuff, and people think I'm so crazy or I'm so bad. People are being nasty to me, even more nasty than liberals, believe it or not. It's like culty Trump accounts with like frogs in their picture. And I like frogs. I'm just saying, it's like, they're like, Anomaly's an agent working for the, who do you think is like paying me to talk about children's exercise and opening up the country? I'm just telling you, both parties don't want to tell you the truth, because Trump is like, Operation Warp Speed is the greatest thing that ever happened. I saved the world. 100 million lives saved. I pushed the FDA. And Democrats are like, get it, or else you can't go to work. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, mandates aside, we could talk about mandates. I'm against it. Trump says he's against it. We can agree on that, right? Mandates are not good. But I'm going beyond mandates. I'm like, mandates aside, yeah, mandates are wicked. I'm reading the data and I'm like, yeah, I just don't think this whole program is that great. If you want to be honest, it's like, it's awesome if everybody gets what medication they want, but that's not what happened here. They locked the country down. They funneled tens of billions of dollars to big pharma. They ran the craziest, most intrusive advertising campaign in modern history, where they jammed it down your throat, bribed your children, threatened your children saying they can't go to school if they don't get the vaccine, gave you French fries, gave you $1 million lotteries, told you can't work in an office in New York City if you don't get, this has been the most corrupt rollout of any pharmacy product in modern history. Put the mandates aside. I think it's the most corrupt pharmacy rollout ever. I don't care if Trump didn't mandate it. I still think it's whack and corrupt. I'm sorry that I have a brain. But in general, he's never going to tell you this about Israel, and Biden's never going to tell you this about Israel, because their main, it seems like, main interest is selling the product. And I'm here to say, I'm not telling you what's great or not. I drink water. I drink orange juice. I have a kombucha here. Some people don't drink kombucha because it's got too much sugar in it. I have a crappy brand of coffee here. I'm a degenerate. I should be drinking healthier coffee. But in general, this is the Israeli data. This is all I want to say. And I think it's worth noting, and I think it's worth bringing up to these psychos who try to scream at you. August 30th. This is before the vaccine came to Israel. August 30th, 2020. And you could speculate on why this happened. I'm willing to debate. You could have every, idea under the sun. They had 1,101 cases, and they only had 14 deaths in Israel last August 30th. This August 30th, they're up to 9,879 cases and 54 deaths. That's, 14 times 4. It's about 4 times as many deaths. 9 to 10 times as many cases. Is that success? Because the ratio is better? That's success? Well, yeah, more people are dying and more people are getting it, but the ratio is better. It's like, I'm not sure that that's what they actually wanted. Don't let these people lie to you. Seriously, stand up for yourself, have the data, have the articles, have the confidence. Because I don't know, I have an attitude, but if someone's like, you need to get this, I'd have every pull out under the sun. I'm like, did you know that they used to say we needed to get it because of herd immunity? Yeah. Well, did you know now they're saying herd immunity is mythical? Google herd immunity COVID mythical. You're going to have 5 articles. The experts are saying it's mythical. You can't reach herd immunity. Well, if you can't reach herd immunity, then okay, then why can't we? And what does it do? Because at first you were saying it's 95% effective, and now you're saying it's not. So what does it do? How long does it provide for? 2 months, 4 months, 6 months? They don't know. That's why they keep changing their story. They don't know. But their intuition is telling you to get it. They don't care what it's doing. Get it. Hey, well, get it. Oh, get another one. Get another one. This is going to be your life forever. Get another one. It doesn't work. Get another 4 months, 3 months, 2 months. Like, these people are psychopaths to me. I'm out on the beach doing push-ups. Like, if you want to get a pharmacy injection every 6 months, seriously, I don't care. But if they're going to try to kick me out of society, I'm not running around popping pills and getting injections all the time. Some people like that. I'm not really. I'm more of a wake up early, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, go to the beach, body surf, work out, play basketball. That's more my speed. But if you want to pop pills, watch television and listen to Don Lemon, make excuses for Joe Biden, and then there's a pharmacy like Zoloft. You got the Zoloft commercial. He's like, are you depressed? And it's a little ball. He's like, and you're like, eat our pills, and you'll be happy. And it's some people are like, he's got a point, but talk to your doctor, because there's 15 side effects. They're like, well, they land off. How come they don't do that for every medication? Talk to your doctor, these side effects. They have to tell you that because they have liability. Why don't they why are they blocking out anybody who's talking about these jabs? I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm not saying it's not rare, but it's these companies have immunity from liability. They have the best deal ever. They're like, yeah, we're not paying for that. Are you kidding me? We're not just not going to pay for it. We're going to smear you in the press and act like it's not even happening. And the craziest thing to me is I don't want to harp on this too much, because people have been very nasty to me this week. Seriously, people, I'm not crying and playing the victim. I get it. I'm a public figure. I have a big mouth. I get what I get, but I've got bullied more, and it's not oh my God, I'm so scared. I've got bullied more by people who like Trump, even though we agree on almost everything, because they don't want me to talk about Operation Warp Speed. They don't want me to disagree with them. They don't want me to not be a fan. So they're just so nasty. But here's my thing that I have to say, and then I'm going to move on and answer questions. Donald Trump is telling everybody, he did say the other day, he was like, I don't think kids should get it, and I don't think that it should be mandated. And that's awesome. I love that. It's not like I'm a nasty person. People are like, now what Anomaly does? I'm like, I'm not a psycho. I love hearing Trump do the great thing. I love the guy. I got invited to the White House. Half of these idiots talking about me. You didn't get to go to the White House. They invited me there. Well, it was the Hispanic Latinos, but I love conservatives. I love Trump. But if he's being whack, I'm not a fake person. I'm not going to just try to, there's 2 types of people. You're in business. I'm just going to shut my mouth and try to climb my way to the top. I'm like, if it's whack, I'm not going. I'm sorry. But in general, I don't hate the guy. I'm looking for him to do the right thing. But the point I want to say is he's convincing people that he's pushing the FDA and Fauci. He's created this narrative in his head that he keeps repeating. And he did it in that interview too. He said, the FDA is so bureaucratic, they're so corrupt, which is true. He says, but they didn't want to release this vaccine So I had to really push them, and I had to really push Fauci to get this vaccine out. So now a lot of people who like Trump are saying, well, Anomaly, you don't understand. Trump had to fight the FDA. And I'm thinking to myself, what a masterful, political theater they put on. I'm not trying to be rude, but Fauci doesn't want a vaccine rushed to market like McDonald's doesn't want hamburgers. If you think Dr. Anthony Fauci didn't want this vaccine to be out, that's like thinking McDonald's doesn't want to sell hamburgers. Thinking the FDA is like doesn't want a pharmacy product to get to market would be like saying Burger King doesn't want to sell a million French fries. Donald Trump is either, being honest and he like bullied the good people in the FDA out of positions or something, or he's just lying and trying to convince a bunch of people that like he's fighting Fauci by rushing vaccines. That's like, oh, I'm fighting Bill Gates by rushing vaccines. Like, that's not fighting Bill Gates. That's working with Bill Gates. It's such a sneaky, deceptive tactic, but people are so, they love or hate. You either love Trump or hate Trump. So when people love him, I'm like, I voted for him, but I don't believe it's like this revolutionary thing he's doing by releasing a product for big pharma like that. I don't think Fauci doesn't want that to happen, but sometimes I wish I just believed this stuff so I could fit in more. It would be a lot easier for my career, my life, if I just like believed everything I heard and I picked a side and I picked a team. I just can't do it. And I'm starting to learn now. It's like people created a religion in 2016 to 2020. People created a religion around hating Donald Trump. And it got really weird because like, I didn't even know what liberal conservative. I wasn't a political major. I didn't care about politics. I cared about rap music. I cared about, things that teenagers care about. And in my 20s, I didn't think about politics that much. Nobody really talked about it. Point I'm getting to is once Trump came along, people made their whole life about hating Donald Trump. And it went beyond like a political movement. It became like a religion and a cult. They hated Trump. They hate people from Alabama. They're like, I just hate conservatives. I want them to die. And you're crazy. Like even in my most liberal days, I never hated people from Texas. I never hated conservatives. I never hated my grandparents. Like I never seen anything like it. So liberals kind of drove a lot of people away because they were just acting so insane. During Obama, they didn't act like that. During Clinton, like people didn't act like that. It was a whole new level of like deception because the media said Trump was Hitler and you got to, everyone's going to die. And a lot of people believe that on the left wing. And they created a religion, not a movement, like a full-blown religion hating Trump. It's like, yo, you guys are creeping me out, So the left wing was really creepy. So when I made a video in 2016 or 2017, I said, here's why the media is wrong about Trump. And I made a list of 20 things that Trump did right. You get what I'm saying? I was like, here's him fighting human trafficking. Here's him doing prison reform. Here's him stopping the war in Syria. Here's all the great things Trump's doing. Liberals went apeshit, not just on me, but they went apeshit on every Republicans. And everybody hated that because it was like, you guys are creeping us out. Like I got 20 million views on that video. I got invited to places and people were like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm like, I'm just being honest. I don't know. I'm not a liar. I'm not in a cult. If Trump's doing great, I'm willing to report it. It's not a big deal to me. So now 3 years of liberals acting psychotic. Now I'm starting to realize that Trump has, not everybody, a lot of people get it. Alabama booed him when he was talking about it too much. There's a lot of smart people and there's different, little subsects of the Trump world. But there are a lot of people who have built a religion around worshiping Trump. So, it never bothered me because everything Trump was doing for the first 3 years, I was like, he's pretty damn good, right? I mean, there's not that much to really say. Like, he definitely tweets a lot, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. I have a good sense of humor. So it wasn't until Operation Warp Speed, lockdowns, to jab sales. He's the king of the ventilators, king of the testing, king of the vaccines. Like he turns into like a big pharma salesman. And that's like against my morals and my values and what I believe is right. So I just said like, I'm going to vote for him over Biden, duh. But I don't think this is like the right path to go. And wow, I'm not even lying or playing the victim, and I think, I'm self-reflective. I could have said things nicer. I definitely could have worded things nicer. So I take responsibility as well with how I presented the certain message. But I've got bullied more by Trump supporters on my own side than I have by liberals. They are nastier, meaner. People are publishing my personal information, lying about me, creating theories every day. People are harassing me now. And it doesn't bother me. I'm a cool cat, but I'm just looking at it. I'm like, wow, people really have created a religion around loving Donald Trump. Like they literally put him above Jesus. If I were to say to some of these people, hey, I don't agree with these verses in the Bible, they'd be like, cool. I'm like, yeah, this verse in the Bible I don't agree with. Cool. this verse in the Bible, cool. Yeah, but Trump's Operation Warp Speed, what the hell? You don't like Trump's Operation Warp Speed? Goddamn, who do you work for? Who's paying it? Like, seriously, they're creeping. Like, they are more obsessed with Donald Trump than most Christians are with the actual text of the Bible. I could say, well, I don't agree with the first chapter of the Bible. I don't think homosexuality is a capital crime. And then be like, no, I don't either. I love gay people. And then I'd be like, yeah, but Donald Trump, I don't like the vaccines. Oh my, like, they are beyond a religion. I'm not trying to be sorry. It's not everybody, but there's that cult of like, oh my gosh, like, I'm sorry. I guess I'm sorry. And the crazy part is these people don't even disagree with me. They're like holistic moms who were all like into vaccine injuries 3 years ago, but then they got brainwashed into thinking like Donald Trump's fighting Fauci by rushing vaccines. Like, Fauci wants to stop vaccines like McDonald's wants to stop hamburgers. If you believe that Donald Trump fought Anthony Fauci by rushing a vaccine, then I'm fighting Ronald McDonald and Grimace and the Hamburglar because I'm going to sell burgers for them. It's like, it's such a goofy lie, but I guess that's what happens, right? If you're left wing or you're right wing, you pick a team, you pick a side, you watch Fox News or you watch CNN, you follow QAnon or you follow, Blue Anon, you follow, you're into this or you're into that. You watch this, you watch that. And people have lost the ability to like, communicate. I don't know. You got the vaccine or you didn't get the vaccine. And now you got people being so nasty to each other. Even some girl, I told people yesterday in my stream, she said, I got 2 vaccines, but I don't want to get the 3rd. My thought was like, I'm grateful that you're allowed to feel that way. I know multiple people who've got 2, and if they don't want to get a 3rd, I'm happy for them. You should have the choice of what you want to do. People are being so mean to her. My friends are like, well, you did this. You signed a deal with the devil. You're going to hell. And I'm like, how are you going to grow your audience? And I'm not saying you have to sacrifice your values, but everyone wakes up at a different time. If somebody decides to join the fight against medical tyranny, that's a good thing. Is it not? There's people who got vaccinated at birth and now they are like, nah, I don't want to get this one. I don't treat them like crap. You could have a conversation about what you think is right or healthy, but you're going to hate somebody based on what you perceive as a mistake they made. I mean, this is crazy stuff. So I find that, there's been cults and like religions created around hating Trump or loving Trump. And the loving Trump one is almost to me like crazier because, I feel like they harass me more because I don't want to get into it too much, but in general, I've always noticed with certain people, I try to be very accurate. Some people are not so accurate. Some people are more sloppy and more out there, and that's cool. I love a good theory or whatever, but I always think to myself, it's like a psychology thing. If you're willing to lie about other people without having compassion or empathy, like when I talk about Shapiro or Charlie Kirk, I don't always agree with their policies, even Donald Trump, but I try to be thoughtful to a certain extent. I'm forgiving. Like, people in these movements, they think I want to see Trump fail. I want to see Trump succeed. I'm not a yes man. Nobody respects a yes man. I'm not a fan. I know some people are professional fans and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm in the game. You get what I'm saying? I'm not a sideline player. I'm a musical artist. I make news analysis. Like, I'm not just a fan. I don't have pom-poms in my hand. I don't make fan accounts for like, John Stockton or Donald Trump. It's not what I do. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but like, people mistake me for a fan or something. I'm like, I don't know. But in general, it's getting a little creepy. And I'm just starting to notice that if people are willing, I see them lie about other people with no compassion, no sympathy, no thoughtfulness. Well, they're going to do that to you eventually. If they're sloppy with their reporting and sloppy with their conspiracy theories, what's going to stop them from being sloppy? And there's nothing. So, I've noticed that earlier, and I've always kind of known. I'm like, those type of people are one day they're going to get mad at me and they're going to treat me the same way they treated other people. But it's okay. I just think it's worth talking about, having a conversation, because we're really getting lost in the sauce in this country. And, it is what it is, but just something I thought of. I'll read some comments. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Hopefully I can stay for a little bit. I may have booked an interview for 6:00 on Instagram. I have like 4 interviews coming up this week. I said I would do with certain people. So let me just check my messages real quick, because I'm not 100% sure if I actually did or not. Let's see. And then I'll get some questions. Sorry about that. Well, they didn't answer me, so I guess I'll stay here for 10 more minutes. Someone said, but the Biden lovers are more creepy. Yeah, I guess here's my thought process. I hear what you're saying. Like, I think overall, people who like Trump and on the conservative side, I think politically they're onto something more. But I don't think people that like Biden, there's not much there. It's like liking a blank wall. I guess you could like it. It's artistic because it's blank or something. But Biden's a pretty piss poor person and politician. However, here's my one thought, and you don't have to agree with me, but I think it's worth listening to. People love to hate other people. People love to judge other people. People like to identify. Liberals like to identify themselves. I just hate Trump. That's like, it's in their profile picture, it's in their Tinder and Bumble, it's on their Instagram. Like, that's who I am. I'm a Trump hater. It's like, in the world, you could be anything in this world. You want to be a Trump hater? And then there's certain conservatives that they're just Biden and like liberal haters, like libtards. I mean, it's definitely worth, pointing out the hypocrisy in people. But if your whole identity is hating the other side, you're going to turn into that. I truly believe that, like, psychologically, you become what you hate. So a lot of these conservative accounts I follow, they're so easy to fool because they're so filled with hate. They're so filled with emotion, and they're so filled with anger, and they're so filled with like, yeah, this is my team. And like, I get it. I trust you. I'm a passionate person, but so don't spend too much energy just becoming a hater, because then you become a team player. And when you become a team player, you get lost in the sauce. You get George Bush, you get the Patriot Act, you get the lockdown, you get operate war. It's like there's all these tricks. So I definitely think Joe Biden is the worst person by far, but I think people like to pick on others. Like, there's this one guy who comes to my Instagram live streams. His name is like Try Popcorns or something. And the dude just sits there and every day says, Trump's the best, Trump's the best, Trump's the best. I'm like, this is fine, bro, whatever. But he hates me so much. But I'm like, why are you here so much? It just creeps me out. I'm not even like upset by it, but I'm, as a person, as like a nice person, I'm like, bro, go find a hobby, go do something. Like, what do you love? Do you like news analysis? Do you like reading books? Do you like riding bikes? Do you like, skateboarding? Whatever you like to do, I wish you success. And I want you to spend energy being successful in that. But he loves to hate, on me, where it's like, I don't care that he hates me, or I don't care. But the fact that he spends hours doing it is kind of creepy, where it's like, I wish, just for your own mental health, that you did something you loved. And that's the same with people in politics that hate Trump or hate Biden. It's like, trust me, I get it. But I hope you focus on what you do love and focus on being effective, because, just sitting there hating on someone you don't like just seems very, very toxic, very tolling. As a person. But thank you, Anthony J, bro. I appreciate it. Someone said we need more political parties. Yeah, I know a lot of countries have more political parties. I don't know if it would work here. Gordon said in all caps, okay, we get it. I don't know why you're yelling at me, Gordon. It's okay. Ejiro said, bro, I think you do that also sometimes. Did you not insult stick supporters? You sometimes contradict yourself. I still respect you. Well, I mean, I guess definitely I could be nicer, but I mean, I don't know. If somebody says something about Trump supporters or conservatives, it doesn't really bother me that much. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm like independent. I could be a lone wolf, but he's sitting there as a libertarian telling people that printing $9 trillion is okay if Donald Trump does it. I just said, if someone believes that, I feel like you're kind of foolish. I guess I could have said it in a nicer way, but I still think that people take offense to it, because like people who supported him, who weren't foolish, said to me like, yo, I loved him, I like you. That really woke me up. They're like, I don't follow him anymore because I was kind of fooled. So I don't know. It's like I don't know what to really tell you. I definitely could be nicer and more thoughtful, but I don't like sugarcoat stuff. Like, what am I supposed to say? Biden supporters are really smart and they know what they're doing. Like, I'm not a mean person, but like I just give it to you straight, where it's like, if you're that easy to fool, to me, that's very foolish or very dumb. I guess I could use different terminology, but there's an old saying. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know. I like, if you think I'm so mean, just click the X button. I'm definitely, there's times where I could have handled myself better, but I don't really regret saying any of that. I think on certain angles, people are too sensitive. Like, I didn't attack his character or who he was. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. That sounds pretty dumb to me, but definitely could be better. All right, let me read this. Someone said, I love the way you report, man. Well, thank you, Charles. I appreciate it. Have I gotten in touch with Chris Skye? No, I've talked to him once on Instagram Live, but I don't. Here's the thing with me. I do my own thing. I don't want to be connected to everybody all the time. If I want to interview someone, that's fine, but I like to do my own thing. I'm not trying to be involved if everyone else is crap. Once you get involved with someone else's stuff, then they blame you when they do something stupid. So I'll talk to people, I'll interview them, but I'm not going to chase Chris Skye around. I've talked to him once. It was fine. He does his thing. I do my thing. I don't need to like hop on someone else's bandwagon or vice versa. It's all love, but I'm not in a rush to do that. Someone said, stop eating soy. Disciple Will said, Anomaly thinks he's the only one in the know. That's not true. I think in general, I don't think I go at it from the same perspective as everyone else. I don't think I'm the only one in the know. I've never said that, but a lot of people, I think the reason I got involved in politics personally is I felt that the spiritual energy was low. And I'm not talking on some new age stuff. I'm just saying like everybody's so nasty to each other. Everybody's so headstrong. A lot of people in politics, they're always clashing. And, there's people that I love. There's people that I think do a great job. I think Tucker Carlson's a great news reporter. I don't always agree with him, but I think he does a great job. There's dozens. Really Graceful does really great work. I'm a lover. I love other good work, but I think some people are very foolish. And I think a lot of it roots from lack of self-awareness, lack of self-accountability, lack of discipline, lack of God, or, some sort of set of morals. And I don't know. I don't look at everything the same way everyone else looks at it. And I don't think I'm better than people, but at a certain point, it's like, if you watch my show, I'm reporting on what I report on Israel, and I report on this, and I just do what I want. It is what it is, but sometimes people cross paths and they try to test me or they say something. Most of the times that people have debated me, I don't go out of my way looking for them. They have a problem with me. And a lot of times they have a problem with me because they see what I'm doing and they're mad at it. But it's like, if you're going to get mad at what I'm doing, you better be really good at what you're doing. And if you're a little goofy, then it is what it is. But I was super nice today. And like, no matter what I say, people freak out at me. We got almost 3,000 people on Facebook, over 1,000 people. We got almost 4,000 people here. Most people are cool. Most people are vibing. We're having a good time. We're laughing. Some people are typing in all caps. This person's mad. This person's mad. Like, I don't know what you want from me. It's like, I interact, I say a lot, but people have a lot to say. If you think I think I'm so special, just click the X button. If I watch somebody, I'm like, this guy's an asshole. He's so into it. I'm like, I would just not watch. I really don't get it. But people seem to love, I hate you, but I'm going to sit here for 3 hours. I must be the most lovable, hateful person ever. What do I think of Tim Pool? I think he's really built his business. I think he's really grown as a person and a man over the last year. And, I don't watch him that much, but I think he really has a good business model for someone that, independently created their own thing. I don't really have anything negative to say. I think he does great work. I don't know all his takes, and I don't watch enough to know how much I agree, but as from the perspective of someone who built something on his own, it's very impressive what Tim Pool did. Jim said, last night I saw a tiny round bright object moving in the high sky, then it disappeared. It was faster than a plane. Interesting. I've seen some weird stuff too. Someone said, here's something that's interesting I want to talk about. Hold on 1 second. Sherry said, Trump is changing his tune on the vaccine. He just said no mandate. He also said Pfizer owns the World Health Organization. I haven't heard that, but here's what I want to say real quick. I saw some big account. A lot of these Trump accounts are really mad at me because I made that one video. And now that Trump is changing his tune a bit, they're tagging me as if I'm going to be so mad at it. They're like, see, F you, Anomaly. And I'm like, what you guys don't understand is Trump actually listens. I talk to Trump because I respect Trump. I understand that Trump watches Tucker Carlson. He watches Fox News. He has a son who pays attention. Don Jr. is tapped into the thing. So if you're just a fan, he keeps doing what he's doing because you're clapping like a seal. I decided to take a stance as a man, as an American, as a patriot, and say, I don't agree with this. I don't care if you want to mandate it or not. You're talking about it way too much, and it's annoying to me. And then Alabama booed him. I'm not saying we could have naturally gone this path too, but I bet you it has a lot to do with patriots like Alabama Trump supporters, myself, Bryson Gray, Elijah Schaffer, and a lot of other big names who said, hey, we like Trump, but what he's doing is whack. So maybe he did this naturally, and that's awesome. He deserves all the credit, but also maybe he actually listens to his supporters, and maybe you guys are just big fanboys, and there's other men who don't just like put pom-poms in their hands. So as much as people are getting so mad at me, like, see, he's saying it now, maybe what we did had something to do with it. Maybe it didn't. I'm willing to admit that I could have had nothing to do with it, but I personally think Don Jr. pays attention. And some of the biggest, highest profile Trump supporters came out and said Trump is, including his own rally in front of his own eyes, they booed his ass. So you think that doesn't make an impact? We're not doing it to be mean. We're doing it because it's whack, and someone should tell him. I don't know. Like, I'm not fake enough to like just ignore it. So I'm glad he's changed his tune. I think that millions of people speaking back to him makes an impact. It's just like with Ted Cruz or any representative. Like, only Donald Trump has built this audience that thinks that it's like a religion. Like, I just have to get in a circle and on my knees. And trust me, I've prayed for Trump many a times, but it's like, any other politician, it's like normal to be like, yeah, I disagree with that. And like, I want to tell him. With Donald Trump, it's like, don't you dare. He has a plan. Trust the plan. It's like, that's such an obvious psyop. It's a psyop to get conservatives, patriots, and libertarians to just like bow on the altar of a human being instead of, respectfully disagree. And maybe I was not respectful, but when millions of lives are on the line and millions of people are being forced jabbed, I think they deserve a leader. I don't think they need a salesman of the product being forced down their throat. I think they need a leader who's willing to stand up against it 20 times as hard as he's selling it. And that wasn't Trump, and it still isn't. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not buyable. I'm not bullyable. You're not going to like, that's what I believe. And if I didn't, I wouldn't say it. You can't make me lie or say something else. Someone said cases and deaths in the UK up from last year. I got to check that, but wouldn't be surprised. I'll start looking at the UK data. Someone said people have become ignorant so that they are more passionate about their hate than their love for the country and fellow man. For sure. That's definitely a part of it. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of abuse. I get it. People have been abused by the media. They've been on the defense. People lied about Trump so much. They're on the defense, right? They don't know who to believe. A lot of people love Fox News, and then Fox News turns on Donald Trump in the election. It's like, I feel like people have been whiplashed back and forth that a lot of people are not handling it very well. And I'm thoughtful about that. I get that it's been a crazy couple of years, but it's like, man, even for instance, like I talked about it a little yesterday, but I think this is even more important than like my analysis. Like, my opinions on stuff don't really matter. The data is interesting and it's worth knowing, but what's more interesting than my opinion is the fact that we're all on our cell phone. We're all on Instagram. We're all on Twitter. People are driving themselves crazy. They're trying to drive me crazy. It's all like internal. They have issues, so they're all over the place. Like, dude, you can't be reading thousands of messages, thousands of tweets. Like, it's going to break your brain. Turn your phone off, go for a walk, go for a jog, hang out with your friends. Like, that's what makes life worth living. Not sitting on Twitter arguing with people, not messaging me all sorts of crazy crap at 5 a.m. in the morning. Like, that's miserable. It's miserable for me. It's got to be miserable for you. I appreciate people who message me, but trust me, I'm tapped into this stuff. I see the bills. I see everything. I see most of it. Sometimes people show me stuff, but I'm getting thousands of things and people getting mad when I don't answer. I live a good life because I don't sit on my phone all the time, and people got to realize whether you're a Trump support, you could be Trump, know every conspiracy theory, but you also got to take care of yourself. Because if you become a mess, that's the energy you're projecting out. So you could be the smartest wizard in the QAnon movement, but it's like, if you're a psycho energy all over the place, like, you're no different than me. Self-accountability is important for me, and it's important for you. It's not like I stand here and say, well, I support, I'm fighting human trafficking, so I'm just going to treat everyone else like, just like, that's great. It's awesome, and it's definitely great to shine a light on, but seriously, you still got to look in the mirror. You still got to self-reflect on yourself, because just because that's what makes people wicked. Like, the left wing, they thought they're so great, right? That's like, I'm so great. Women's march, abortions, like, I'm so great. And Trump supporters are so bad. And that's why I could do whatever I want, because I'm a liberal and you're a bad racist and I'm so good. That's what made them bad. It wasn't even their politics. It was the psychology of having no self-awareness and no self-accountability. And liberals became disgusting. It's not just their political views. They had zero self-awareness. That's happening to the right wing. Well, I study this stuff in the message board, so I'm going to treat you like shit. It's like, cool. Okay. I've watched documentaries and study too, but I don't treat people like crap. I try not to. I guess there's definitely certain times and certain videos where I could have said things nicer, no question. But I think about that. I'm thoughtful about that. Other people, they're just railing at everyone all the time. I'm like, the problem's not everyone. You got to look inside as well. It's pretty important. And when people are like, you think you're so much better than everyone? No, I definitely don't. But I think a lot of political accounts, they don't talk about this stuff. They really don't. There's definitely channels that do, but it's like, I don't think I'm better. I'm not in the same lane as these other people. It just by like what we talk about and what we do. It's not like, I don't know. I watch like food channels and they don't do what I do. I don't think I do the same type of stuff that a lot of other people do, which is fine. But when they have a problem with what I'm doing, I look at their stuff and I'm like, I'd keep your mouth shut if I were you. Someone said, do you see more U.S. lockdowns in the winter? What's your prediction? Market correction? Looks like people are willing to work. Interesting times ahead. Thank you, Combat Jones. Here's one thing that's for sure. Well, not for sure, but winter has always been the flu season. So if you look at, winter from 1950, I don't know, till like 2020 or something, 2019, what do they call the winter? The flu season. What happens in the flu season? People get more sick than they normally do. So I'm not saying COVID is the flu. I'm not saying whatever. I know they cry when people say that. I'm just saying now that the flu is miraculously, exiting our society or whatever, there's probably going to be a lot of COVID cases this winter. So I would assume two things going against us in that direction. One, it's the winter, and more people are going to get sick, almost definitely. Two, there's more testing, and this is happening in Israel too. I mean, this goes on the side, like vaccine or not, everybody's testing to go to work, testing to play sports, testing to go on Royal Caribbean, testing. They're testing more. You want to work in New York City? Take a test. You don't get a vaccine? Take a test. The more you test, like Trump said last year one time, the more you'll find. So I don't see this ever stopping until people stop. But that's why I don't know what to tell people. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, nobody has discipline. Nobody has the discipline to end this thing. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There's things that people can say, you don't do enough here. And I'd be like, maybe you're right, but I've never had a test. I'm never getting a test. I didn't get the product that they're forcing down our throats. I don't plan on getting it. So I'm not judging anybody. I don't care what you do, but everyone's like, I hate this thing. How many times do you get tested? That's part of the whole thing. It's like the more people get tested, the more they find. The more they find, the more the cases go up. The more the cases go up, the more they justify the lockdown. It's like at a certain point, people are going to have to take a stand. There's an article I read on Twitter. It said something along the lines of certain hospitals in America are getting away from the mandate because enough nurses said, I'm going to quit if you mandate this. That's all it takes. It's that simple. People don't got to be so angry. People don't got to be so negative. I know these times are tough, but like, it's peaceful. It's loving. Just say no. And when enough people say no, everything goes away. So nurses are already having success in America because enough of them said no to the mandate. So the hospital is now faced with a dilemma. Do you want to go out of business and have people die because you don't have enough nurses? Or do you want to allow these nurses to work without a vaccination? And a lot of them are going the route of letting the nurses work. It's really that simple. My friend is getting bullied by his work too. He's doing a great job standing up for himself. Give them the data. These bullies don't know anything. Seriously. Someone's like, oh, they're coming to people's doors to give out vaccine information. I was hoping they came to my door. Seriously. Not because I wanted to be harassed by the government, because I was looking forward to having a I'm not going to say stupid, but probably not the brightest government employee at my door. And I'd have 50 articles and I'd be like, oh, you want to talk about the vaccine? I'm so glad. And I would love to record it and just be like, bang, bang, bang. And them, they don't know crap. They just know what they read. So if you stand up for yourself peacefully and enough people, this all ends. But the point I'm getting to is like, you get what you put in. I truly believe that. So if enough people want to stand up, this all ends. If enough people want to cave, but my life, it's kind of like with Trump or DeSantis or Biden. Clearly, in my opinion, life would be better under Trump. I mean, definitely the media would be acting crazy and people would be acting crazy, but Biden, I would say, is weaker on foreign policy. Biden's weaker on oil and economy. I mean, pretty much almost everything I think Biden's the worst president on. I can't really think of anything he's better at. Maybe he's good at like licking ice cream or something. Like he's like a good ice cream gobbler. But besides that, Biden's not. But at the same time, whether Biden's in or Trump's in, I'm not going to let that ruin my life. I still got to pay taxes. I still got to, the government's still trying to take my money. They're still doing this. And under Trump in 2020, I was not free at that point. Like the lockdowns were crazy last year. So it's not that I'm blaming him or him, but my whole life doesn't revolve. And that's why certain people hate me. Like my life doesn't revolve around Donald Trump or Biden. I love complimenting Trump. I love saying Biden poops his pants. But besides that, it's like it is what it is. So your life is your life. If this happens, you got to make a decision. If this happens, you got to make a decision. I'm more grateful to be here. So it's like whether I got to leave the state, I'm not gonna stress out. Why would I stress out? If I stress out and I have to leave the state, I still have to leave the state, right? What's the point of being so stressed about it? So that's just kind of how I live my life, in the sense of like, regardless of what's going on, like I gotta work, I gotta do my thing, and I gotta be the best version of myself I could be. I hope people don't get too lost in the sauce and just, someone said ice cream gobbler at LMFAO. I'm trying to be like, I try to be as nice as I can be, because like, I've complimented Democrats I don't agree with, but with Biden, I'm not trying to be like edgy or anything or too right wing, but I can't think of anything he does better. Like he's a good ice cream gobbler. He probably poops his pants better, but besides gobbling ice cream, I'm trying to think of like one thing he does. Technically, I guess he pulled out of the country. That that could be seen as a positive, even though he did a piss poor job of doing it. I don't know. It's like I try to be as nice as I can be, but some people are just not that talented, and I just don't feel like he's making any decisions anyway. So, Earth to Rosita, thank you for the super chat. Someone said we have all been scammed, for sure, Curtis. But listen, you got to make the most of it. Life is a lot of things. It's like the yin and the yang. It's like you can't get both without the other. Like it goes in waves. Things are going to get crazy. Just don't let it get you down. Wherever you are right now, it's probably not the worst place or bad place. We'll be fine. Dr. Gatto said, you sound like a whiny girl, in all caps. It's funny you say that, because like the last 5 minutes was literally the opposite of whining. It was like a motivational speech. And this just proves not everybody wants to listen. Not everybody, you don't have to like me, but I would say the last like 10 minutes, I literally wasn't whining at all. It was like so optimistic and positive, and people were like, you're a black pilled. Oh my God, you're just whining. It's like literally the opposite happened for like 10 minutes. You guys don't listen, which is, trust me, I don't care. I'm just like, why would you listen if you don't listen? If you don't want to listen to me, trust me, half the time I don't even want to listen to myself. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Like just click the X button. I'm sure there's 1,000 accounts on Rumble and BitChute and, Gab and other alternate platforms and YouTube and Facebook, wherever, God bless Gab and BitChute. I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm promoting them as alternative platforms. Like just watch someone else. Why would you come here, not listen, and just make up something? It's an interesting like thing going on, but I say it because it's genuinely interesting to me. Someone said the big question is what is in the V that they need us to get it. I mean, I can't say all the ingredients, but what they're saying, this is what I'll tell you. They're saying it's synthetic mRNA in the Pfizer and the Moderna, and it builds a spike protein. You could look up the science, but that's what they're saying it does, and I'm sure it does do that to an extent. That's people's choice if they want to go through that, medical process. I don't know. It's not, in my opinion, it shouldn't be for everyone. Like for me, like I said, I like to do push-ups on the beach. I'm not a big pharmacy guy. I'm not trying to be bullied by a bunch of like unhealthy people. I'm sorry. I've never liked pills. I don't take pills. Some people take pills. I take this pill. I don't take any pills. I haven't taken any pills for a long, long time. I've had problems at a certain point where I did have medication and I've taken Adderall. I've taken things in my life before, but I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to be on any pharmacy pills if I don't have to be. And I don't have to be. They're trying to force me to be a customer. It's crazy. Ripple Effect said so much propaganda and disinformation. People don't know what to believe. That they want the Great Reset to destroy us. I hear you. It's definitely, but that's why, listen, if people don't listen to anything I say, I don't care even about the data right now, about Trump, about Biden, about Afghanistan. I'm not saying I don't care about it, but seriously, if you want to improve your life, if you want to make it out of this, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it happens, the first step, you really got to look internally. You have to be like, okay, what am I doing? Like if something's going to happen in 4 months, Are you going to have a plan? Do you have a plan? Did you work hard to save money? Or, that's going to save you. It's don't panic. If they're going to lock down in September again, have a plan mentally. Maybe you want to move to a different place. Maybe you want to be around your family. Like, just have ideas in mind. Don't let them scare you. Have no fear. Fear the Lord. Fear the consequences of being wicked. Don't fear doing the right thing. Don't fear, these wicked authoritarians. Don't let them scare you. They're not scary. Seriously, they don't scare me at all. And I'm not like I'm a tough guy. I'm scared of doing the wrong thing. I'm not scared of doing the right thing. These people don't scare me. They're actually huge losers. Seriously. Do I think there's a financial reset coming, a dollar crash? I'm not a big expert on finances, but I would assume you can't just print as much money as they printed, but who knows? Our money's super fake. We've been in trillions of dollars of debt. One side of me thinks maybe they could balance the books. The other side of me thinks they're going to crash the dollar extraordinarily. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. I'm prepared for anything. Do I think so? I think they really did way too much in 2020, and I think they're doing way too much in 2021. I think they've gone too far, but I don't know. I would love to be wrong. It's not something, I'm not like Peter Schiff where I'm like, the world's going to end. I like Peter Schiff. I'm not knocking him. I actually follow him. I like him a lot, but I don't know. I'm an optimistic person. So I'm just trying to walk out with a smile on my face. And if things get crazy, I'll take notice. Dimitri said they definitely can't balance the amount of printing. I think they played themselves, but as far as like, I seriously hope they didn't, but I don't know. I mean, someone said you nailed it. They're huge losers. These people don't scare me, and they're not that popular. If you look at don't let people convince you that the small minority is this loud majority. They're not. Nobody listens to these people. Like Tucker Carlson has the #1 show on TV. It's not Don Lemon. No one cares. Half of that is like retirement homes and like hotels and airports. Like no one's listening to these people. They hate me because people actually listen to me. Like I'm not trying to brag, but it's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell these people. They're on television every day and nobody cares about them. It's like, how are you on national TV every day and still no one likes you that much? Like these people are not that cool. It's all a big show. They put on a suit and they stand out there and they act like they're so famous and so cool. And like people are tuning it out. Probably more people listen to BitChute and Rumble and go on Gab than listen to CNN. I'm not on Gab really. I mean, I'm on it, but I don't post there. I love the founder of Gab. He's epic. Andrew Turba. I love him. He always retweets me on Twitter. That guy's epic. I want to use Gab because he's so cool. Like, that's a winner. I love that guy. He's like a Christian, unapologetic. He's a winner. Like, he's not out here crying about stuff. He built Gab. They took his server. He built the server. They took that. He built that. He takes that. He's out here winning. I love, like, that's there's no time for crying, It's like he gets more views on his website than CNN gets. Joke's on them. I'm out here living my best life. I don't even hear these people. Put your mask on. I'm like, that's what I think. Like, you put it on. I'm good. I don't live in your world. So these people don't even bother me, but I've like eliminated them from my vision. And if they bother me, I just look at them like in disgust. And I try to put up a force field so they leave me alone. Let me see real quick. I thought I had an interview today. Hopefully these people are not mad at me on Instagram, but I messaged them trying to get a hold of them and I didn't hear anything. So let's see. I'm going to look real quick and then I'll read a few more. Someone said, I'd rather listen to you. I'm so over the news. The news is very depressing. It's very depressing and they're very good. One trick to learn, whether you're left wing or right wing, they're very good at manipulating people's emotions. They use tragedies. They exploit tragedies. One of the reasons it's so interesting to me psychologically how this all operates, because on one hand, I think I agree with conservatives. I do think that Biden, I think he screwed up and I think he's an idiot. And people think I hate Trump. I love the guy and he did do a lot of good things. Amongst his character flaws, I do think when it comes to the military and our soldiers, I do think he cares. I seriously think most military members want to talk to Trump. They don't want to talk to Biden. He's not the leader of these people in the sense of, but in general, Biden, I think he screwed up. With that being said, and I think Trump would have handled it better. With that being said, it's interesting to see how many people care about this stuff. Like I see so many women that are not political that much. They are all against Biden. Like Biden really screwed his perception up because this was bad for in the press. And it's interesting to see like the dog thing that they left a bunch of dogs or something in Afghanistan. That's getting more press. Like people like dogs more than they like humans. Like that story alone has driven so many people to be pissed off where it's like, shit, I wish I know people don't like me that much, but it's like, damn, I wish I was a dog sometimes. You know, it's like people got more sad over the dogs than sometimes the humans, which I get it. Dogs are awesome, but it's just interesting to me see the psychology of like what really ticks people off or what really pushes people to become a certain way. And both sides will use emotions to, you know, and if you lose somebody's support through an emotional valve, you know, they can fly to the other side and turn against you really quick, right? I really think Biden lost a lot of support because the emotions around what happened in Afghanistan and the emotional, you know, reporting on the people who died and the dogs who were left there. And I'm not saying it's not true. I think it is. I'm just saying, you know, it's just interesting to see what is the driving factor to certain people. And I think this is important, whether you're in advertising or whether you're, you know, in politics. It's important to know that, and this, I'm giving out gems right now. I feel like this is like a public consulting thing where I would tell this to people behind closed doors if I was doing some sort of like advertising. Because before I did this, I did social media, just hustling, and I love, you know, the human mind, and I like analyzing stuff. But anyway, it's important to get outside your own head. If you want to be successful in anything, whether it's social media, videos, whatever, you got to get outside your own head. It's not what you think. And I think I do this kind of well. Yeah, not everyone's going to agree, but everybody doesn't think like me. Everybody doesn't think like you. And I learned this with Bernie, and then I learned it with Trump. Not you, but people will think everybody likes Trump for the same. And that's why people can't handle, well, you must like him why I like him. You must hate them because not everybody thinks the same way. Millions of people like Trump for this reason. Millions of people like Trump for this reason. Millions of people like Trump for this reason. And the media said, well, everybody likes Donald Trump because they're racist. No, that's not true. That was never true. People like him for different reasons. So it's interesting if you want to be, you know, successful on social media or politics, seeing what really gets people to your side, because you're not going to get Black America's vote by pandering, and you're not going to get Black America's vote by being generic. And, you know, people in New York City that are Democrat voters are not interested in the same thing that somebody in the suburbs are. So everybody, and women, certain things hit with women hard, like statistically, not everyone. So I think one thing that even caught me by surprise was like, obviously what happened in Afghanistan is bad. And I guess it's not like I'm surprised people are upset, but it's crazy to see how many people that have not been political at all are really against Joe Biden right now. So like the lockdown didn't bother them, I guess, and this didn't bother them, but like the dogs, you mess with the dogs, people, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, it's interesting to see because, you know, something makes everybody tick. And that's the thing of like a successful, you know, political campaign or anything is like, you know, you got to run ads for everybody, but also you got to get outside your own head and not like, oh, what do I want? It's like, yeah, be true to yourself, but understand that different types of approach work for different people. And, you know, sometimes the best way to reach out to the other side is not with hate and anger. It's with compassion and trying to build a bridge. Someone said, did anyone really vote for Biden? What did they say? 80 something million. It's fascinating. It truly is. Shu said, thank you for all the info you shared with us. God bless. Thank you, Shu. Someone said both parties suck. LOL. Thank you. I'm just going to say thank you to the super chats real quick. Thank you, Komza. Thank you, Zahir. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Spike. Roger from Canada. Thank you, Lindsay. Candace. Addie said, I'm super impressed with Montana standing up to medical tyranny. Yes, epic. Holly Rooster said, thank you, Lay. Appreciate everybody. Someone said the White House dog is biting people, signs of abuse. Yeah, I don't know. If you watch old videos of Joe Biden, he was never really that likable. Like he definitely wasn't as old, obviously. But if you watch him in the Clarence Thomas, when Clarence Thomas was getting nominated to the Supreme Court, Joe Biden is a nasty man. You know, he's very, very, very nasty. He's not, I don't think he was ever like a great guy. I think in his elder years, he like had that presidential look like Mike Pence or Joe Biden, vice president. as far as like likability, I mean, Biden is a pretty nasty guy. He's always been very like, if you see him yelling at Clarence Thomas, you're like, wow, he's disgusting. You know, he's just like a very rude, very nasty. Yeah, super, super sleazy, like jerk guy where, I mean, like Trump, super funny. Obama, super smooth. Clinton, very smooth. Like Biden was never that person. Even before he was losing it, he was never impressive. I'm not a Clinton or Obama fan, but like Clinton was a smooth character. People liked him because like, I play the sax, I'm so cool. Biden's like, yeah, I play basketball, I'm so cool. Trump's like, I'm building a wall. Like Trump was hilarious, making jokes. Biden was never like a good person, or like never he's never like a good speaker or like funny, interesting guy. It's shocking that he somehow got the nomination because like he's never been impressive ever, like as a politician. And if you really look at politicians, like what makes a president? George Bush, pretty smooth. I mean, a little goofy, but pretty smooth. Clinton, pretty smooth. Obama, pretty smooth. Trump, pretty smooth. Biden, he's not smooth. I don't know. I feel like they jumped the gun on him. But like, from Trump to Obama, different personalities, but they can both finesse their way out of a situation. Obama could say he's against the Second Amendment, but Obama is so eloquent with his words, he can make it sound like he's not against the Second Amendment, but he really is. He's slithering around words like he's a wordsmith. Obama's a smart guy. He's like even when I was pro Second Amendment, he was somehow, I was like, nah, that's reasonable. He's very smooth. Trump, different type of energy, different type of humor, very smooth. He can convince a bunch of holistic moms that Operation Warp Speed is the defendable. It's like he's very smooth. Biden, I mean, I seriously think they played themselves, and more importantly than they played themselves, they played our country. Because listen, I didn't like Bush, I didn't like Obama. I did like Trump for a while. Now I'm a little disappointed, but whatever. I mean, he at least was like a real person. Like when there was a hurricane, Trump said there's a hurricane. Like he was like a quarterback. You don't know. He doesn't always throw a touchdown, but he threw a lot of touchdowns. And then he started throwing a lot of interceptions. But in general, Trump was a quarterback. I love this country. I mean, hurricane. He loved being a leader. Like because he actually, I don't think Trump hates the country. I just think he's like goofy with the Operation Warp Speed. Someone needs to tell him to stop. But in general, Biden, he's like a joke. It's embarrassing. Politics aside, it's embarrassing to have a leader that pathetic, that weak, that I'm not going to say old, but that gone. Like of all the things that I've been annoyed about Trump recently, like he really seemed to care, and he really seemed to enjoy his role as like the quarterback. Biden is embarrassing, but the positive to that is if Republicans play their cards right, they could really use this momentum to convince a lot of people, but they got to be more authentic, in my opinion. They got to stop. I get it's difficult, but they got to get out of this like selling the product. We've heard it, the sales. We've heard the sales pitch a million times. It's like it's time to shift gears back into like 2016 style, where it's like, listen, we're focusing on this. Stop with the tech. Like this is where people misconstrue me. Trump says he's the king of the ventilators, the king of testing. Like Trump, DeSantis, nice guys, they're doing their thing, but like we're never getting over this until we chill out with the ventilators. I think it's time to chill out with those. Chill out with the mass testing. Like we don't need to be tested all the time. That's part of the tyranny. It's not just vaccine mandates. It's also test mandates. You have to get a test to fly to there. I've never taken a test. I don't want to take a test. If I wanted to take a test, I'd take one, but I don't want to be forced to take a test. I've never been forced to take a flu test or a strep throat test. That's always been optional. One of the biggest parts of the medical tyranny that everybody's in on is the testing. So that's why I go hard at the Republican Party, because I'm like, you guys got to drop the testing too. I know you guys want to be like, politically correct and on the fence, but it's like, with all due respect, F that. Just stop all this shit. We got to get past all of it. Like if you're sick, stay home. If you don't feel good, stop being disgusting. Take a break and go for a walk, not around people. Drink liquids, drink some pho or some ramen, or have a cup of soup and, drink some tea. If you want to get tested, go get tested, right? If you want to get a test, get a test. If you want a home test, get a home test. If you want to go to the doctor, go to the doctor. But we don't need to live like the whole world is like a disgusting hospital. Like it's a disgusting world to live in. and I'm over it. So that's my message to the Republican Party. They're always just being Democrats of like 5 years ago. I want to read a tweet from my buddy Patrick Howley real quick. Good journalist, hilarious guy. Never met him in person, but I consider him a friend. I think he's nice. We talked on a live stream. I think he's super cool. I want to read his tweet real quick because I agree with it. It might not be popular, but he said, let me see real quick. Did he delete it? Sometimes he deletes his tweets. He was saying, let me try to find it. He was saying something about how the Republicans are like the Democrats of 5 years ago, but he said it in a more interesting way than I'm going to say. Let me see. I just got to scroll down real quick. I think he deleted it, but he was trying to say the modern Republicans are like left of Che Guevara compared to like Democrats of 10 years ago. Like no one 10 years, like Clinton was not doing mass testing and vaccine sale. Like the Republican Party, all they do is like they become like the left. They're like, well, the left's going to go crazy and we're just going to sell it a little bit. It's like, just stop chasing their tails. Be your own, have your own identity. It's like compared to the left wing of 20 years ago, you know, the right wing is almost like left of Che Guevara. It's a little exaggeratory, but not really. Printing $9 trillion, like mass testing, like stop just pretending to be like moderate Democrats. It's so annoying. That's why people voted for Trump. They didn't vote for him because he seemed like he just was like not a liar. I don't know. He's like, I'm going to build a wall. Why do you want to do that? Are you racist? No, it just makes sense as far as like security. It's like people are like, oh, yeah, that does make kind of sense, doesn't it? Like people didn't like him for playing the fence. So Republicans got to get out of that zone of like, well, Anomaly, people want to hear this. Like they don't even agree with what Trump's saying, but they want to be like, well, people need to hear this. He won the first time. He called Rosie O'Donnell disgusting and he won president. If he could do that, how come he can't stop selling tests and vaccines? Maybe I'm crazy, but it's like, I don't think he held back the first time. He's in there, he's like, you're disgusting. Your wife had facial surgery and she's bleeding out the mouth. How come no one cared about, am I crazy? No one cared about that for 4 years. Everyone's like, and now all of a sudden, these people are like prim and proper. They're like, Anomaly, you cursed in your debate. I'm like, you worship Donald Trump, and he called Mika Brzezinski. He said she got plastic surgery. I never criticized Trump for that. I love comedy. So I'm thinking to myself, this is the greatest show on earth. We got the funniest president ever. That was your guy 3 years ago. Now all of a sudden, you guys think you're like Democrats or something. You're like, but Anomaly, he's never going to win the election unless people with the vaccine. But I'm like, no, people got it. No, it's not like the whole world loves vaccines all the time. They just got it because they thought it was right, just like they got it when they were a kid. Nobody thinks about vaccines this much. People got 2 jabs. They want to go back to normal. Everybody wants to go back to normal. I know multiple people. I probably know 10 people who got the vaccine. I would say 9 of them are not like vaccine fanatics. They just did it, and now they want to be themselves again. So it's like, it's a lie that Trump has to do this or the Republicans. They don't have to do this. That's just all they do. Like, Trump had no problem talking shit for 4 years, and it was epic. So I don't like the moderate, well, I did this, I saved the world with the farm. Go back to calling people disgusting. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a bad strategy. But I enjoyed a good, like, you remember your plastic surgery? Oh, yeah, she was bleeding all over. It was disgusting. Joe, it was this. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I messed up. But that was what I enjoyed personally. But, you know, I'm sure that also turned a lot of people off. But to me, it was like watching the greatest show on earth. Every day, his tweets, it was like, bang, bang, just classics every day. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to reminisce, but that was more my speed. It was like a Dave Chappelle routine, 5 a.m. I'm up at 3 a.m. and Trump's talking shit to the whole world at like 5 a.m. I'm like, to me, that's the one I liked, but whatever. Someone said I missed the mean tweets. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth is mean. Someone said, Anomaly, I'm typing in caps. Do what you'll say what I want or I'll cry. That's what a lot of people do. Someone said, talk about the election stuff. There's a lot of people talking about it, but here's my thing with it. I'll explain why I don't talk about it that much. And if this is not the answer you want, there's thousands of accounts talking about it, so you can watch them. I believe in this topic. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I think that's one of the best ancient sayings, because if someone fools you one time, it's their fault. If they fool you twice, it's your fault. If they fool you 5 times, it's your fault. If they fool you 10 times, it's your fault. I've been down the process of, I watched election night, right? I'm celebrating because I think it's over. I don't want Joe Biden to win. Even amongst all of Trump's disagreements, I'd much rather have him there than Joe Biden, duh. So I'm thinking it's over. And then all of a sudden, we all watched it happen, right? Oh, water leak in Georgia. That's kind of weird, is it not? They're at a stadium. We'll count tomorrow morning. What? We all watched it happen. I watched it happen just like everybody else. And I was disappointed. And I believed. I was like, Trump has 2 or 3 months with Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell. And I'll even apologize. People like Tucker Carlson and Will Chamberlain, they were saying, well, I don't agree. And I was annoyed because I was emotional about it. I was like, yeah. And I apologized to both of them because I think I was like, no. Sidney Powell's going to do this. Lynn Wood's going to do this. And I'm not like full blown into it, but I'm like, I think we have a case to make in the court, and let's see if they make it. So as the months go on, was there decent evidence? I would say so. But as someone who's honest, who thinks that Trump got a raw deal, I was hoping for more. Seriously, like, I'm the type of person, I want something that's so big and so obvious that no one can deny it. So this is the difference with me and a lot of these other people. So month started coming, September, October, November, January, and the court cases didn't go through and the legal options didn't go through. And it was disappointing. And I went through like everyone else, but I was like, well, that didn't work. And then Trump said, well, maybe Mike Pence can do this. It was a Hail Mary attempt. And I thought to myself, and this was unpopular at the time, I don't trust it. Why didn't I trust it? For 2 reasons. Trump was like, Moderna, FDA, I rushed him. I'm the best, vaccine man. He turned into vaccine man. He sold the vaccine more from November to January, more than he did all year. Like, seriously, every other thing was like election fraud, vaccine, election fraud, vaccine. He must have tweeted about it 20 times, and it started creeping me out. He started sounding like a pull string doll to me. It's one thing to sell the jab. It's another thing to sell it 20 times. It's like, okay, dude, we get it. So because of those 2 reasons, I didn't trust January 6th. I'm like, why is he selling Moderna so hard? Why is he telling his supporters that Mike Pence is going to overturn it when Donald Trump has Mike Pence's phone number? You get what I'm saying? So this is the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I let some of these people fool me one time. Once they fooled me one time, I came to the conclusion, I'm not going to get fooled by them again. I didn't go to the Capitol. I didn't go there. Everyone who did, it was not the place to go. So that's called being fooled twice. Okay. Then Mike Lindell says on January 6th, as great of a nice guy Mike Lindell is, he says, well, Trump's going to be back in office on January 20th or January. He's going to be back in office. I'm 100%. Mike Flynn says, I'm 100%. Trump's going to be back in office. And guess what happens? And I listen to all these other people, these decoders with military connections and blah, blah, blah. They're like, Trump's going to get into office and Biden's going to get arrested. There's all these theories, whatever. And then it doesn't happen. At this point, would you get fooled 5 times or 6 times? You guys still don't learn. So I'm not saying that something sketchy didn't happen, because I watched it just like everyone else. And I'm very suspicious of, I don't think we should pause an election. I don't think mass mail-in ballots are a great idea. But Mike Lindell is notorious for making 80% of something seem like 100% and saying it's going to happen in August. It's going to happen here. I didn't say that. It's like, to me, he's a nice guy. He's a Christian man. I think he's energetic. I think he's a great businessman. I think he has a lot of energy. But Mike Lindell is not my pastor, and Mike Lindell is not my God. And to be quite honest, I think he's quite a goofy person. So I don't follow Mike Lindell. He's fooled people 50 times. I'm not saying that there wasn't something weird that happened, but it's like, so Anomaly, why don't you talk about this stuff? How long have you been talking about it? A year? What's happened? Nothing. Anomaly, talk about the Arizona audits. People said that to me in February. What is it now? It's almost September. What happened? Nothing. Did anything happen in August? The symposium, what happened there? Did anything noteworthy happen that really, changed the difference? So they got you talking about something for a year now that is taking people's eyes away from the medical tyranny and the dual party deception and the fact that Trump and Biden are both selling the product that they're using to lock us down and threaten us with. And they're saying it's not being mandated, but it is being mandated. And a lot of Republicans are saying, well, we won't mandate it and we'll let the corporations decide. And the corporations are going to decide and not on your side. So to me, that's why I don't talk about it. I not only don't think that the people running that show are goofy. I'm sorry, but anybody involved in that stuff, it's not that I don't think it's possible to show stuff. It's not that I think elections are 100% awesome. I just don't trust Mike Lindell and the people running the audit. To me, they're like goofy chickens with their heads cut off, where they're onto something, but at the same time, they're goofy leaders. And I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, because there's great people involved in that, and there's smart people that are working their ass off. And I've never said anything, like, oh, don't do that. It's like, no, do the right thing and do it great. But like me, I'm a news analyst. I'm a hip hop artist. I'm a, American citizen. I'm a taxpayer. I'm not a professional fan. I'm not a professional fan of Donald Trump. I'm not a professional fan of Mike Lindell. It's just not what I do. And I'm my own man. I don't follow what other people do. If I see something that I believe in and trust, I'll get behind it. But I didn't get behind January 6th, and that was the smartest thing I ever did. I didn't get behind Mike Lindell because, as nice as he is, it's like he's a little bit, to me, I'm like, he's not someone that I'm interested in following in circles all the time. It's not to say I don't wish you success, but to be long-winded about it, that's why I don't talk about it that much. There's a lot of people talking about it, and it's being led by people that are not the best leaders, I guess, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to say they're terrible people, but the last thing I'm doing is following Mike Lindell in circles, and I'll buy his pillow before I follow him in circles. Someone said we won the Arizona audit. That's awesome. So what's going to happen that you won it? Mike Lindell says, I think Trump's going to get back in soon. And, I think that's the rule. I mean, I think the best bet is going to be getting fair rules for 2022. But some people, they're dedicated to this audit. They say, this is my life. This is what I want to do. I don't have a problem with that. If you do it, great. That's all I ask. Whatever you do, just be great at it. Everybody thinks that their activism makes them above everything. You get what I'm saying? Well, I care about this, so I'm so great. Are you great at it? Me saying I'm great doesn't make me great at what I do. The fact that I take my time and make videos and really analyze stuff and really show my facts, and like my work speaks a lot louder than my mouth, even though my mouth is loud too. That's what makes my content great. It's not the fact that I'm saying it. So if you're going to do stuff with the Arizona audit, whether it's Mike Lindell or anything, I have no problem with it. Just be great at whatever you do. But just because you run around yelling at everybody who's not doing what you're doing doesn't mean you're good at what you do. It doesn't mean you're successful. It doesn't mean you're the best at it. To me, it probably means you're not, because you're spending too much energy worrying about what I'm doing. But I like certain things that Mike says, and other things he's his own man. He's leading a whole thing, and he wants to dedicate his life to saying certain things and doing certain things. And for the most part, I wish him the best. Seriously. It's just not for me. I'm not running around with Mike Lindell. It's just not what I'm doing. Someone said, who is my God? The Lord. I'm a Christian, and not Mike Lindell. Someone said it was all very disappointing. I thought there was a lot more and that they would uncover and expose it. Once again, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's like a basic thing, but at a certain point, you can't blame Mike Lindell, or you can't blame Donald Trump, or you can't blame me or blame Joe Biden. Like, if someone shows you what they're doing, and it's not to say they're a bad person, but it's like so many people, they're just in this like carousel loop. I feel like it's like a hamster on a wheel, where I'm like, I jumped off that wheel a year and a half ago. You know what I'm saying? I jumped off it in April. Like, you guys have been running, man. I've heard about I get it. I get what your people are going for, but I've listened to Mike. I've watched what he said, and I'm like, he's nice. He's just a little loose with his lips, and I think his ambition is a little higher than, I would say, his accuracy rating when it comes to predictions and what he thinks is going to happen. He's very ambitious, and that's why he's such a good salesman, right? Mike Lindell's such a great pillow salesman because he's so ambitious. That drives him to be great in his business profession. As far as politics and that, he's doing his best, I think. But for me, that's not my type of personality. And I like to be a lot smoother and cleaner and more accurate with certain things. But, there's also certain things he says where I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But it's not my, like, why don't you do that? I'm like, dude, I'm not a fan. I'm not in a fan club. When I was younger, I was in a Power Ranger fan club. I used to get mail, and I would get mail and they would say, congratulations, you're the Red Ranger. And I would get all sorts of gear and I would send it off to whatever network made the Power Rangers. And I was in a fan club. When I grew up, I liked the New York Giants. I was a Giants fan. I would say I still am, but I like other sports more than Giants. There's certain athletes that I really like and I root for. When it comes to politics and being a man and being an American, I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan. That's just not what I do. I'm not like a professional fan. But there's nothing wrong with doing that if you make a podcast or something. It's just not people that want me to do that. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. That's not what I do. Someone said politics is becoming more and more like wrestling as time goes on. Keep crushing. John, it really is. And it's funny because the more extremely obvious it gets, the more pissed off people get. And that's how I feel. Like everyone's running on a hamster wheel. I'm just taking a step back and I'm like, this is starting to feel like WWE to me. Like Mike Lindell, Donald Trump, like, yeah, I prefer them to Joe Biden and Jen Psaki. But as far as like, is my whole energy invested in what they're saying and doing? Like, no, not really. Like, do I have to agree with every single thing Mike Lindell said? Like, no, of course not. But it's getting so funny to me because I'm like, Mike's getting to that level of Trump where like, I wish him well, but people were like, what the hell? And I'm like, okay, like I wish you luck, but it's just so funny to me. Like watching these things unfold, like listening to interviews, I'm like, it really is starting to seem like pro wrestling. It's like, I'm going to get them next time. You just got to fundraise me. Like I'm getting like mail from the RNC. They're like, we're on Biden's doorstep any day now. We're going to defeat Biden and, just give us your money. And I'm like, no, I'll keep my money, but thanks RNC. I wish you luck or whatever. But it's like they love to play off of like, well, Donald Trump, he is trying to send the kids back to Mexico. If you give Chuck Schumer $1 million of your money, Chuck Schumer is going to stand up for the Mexicans. And like, you're like, I don't know, they got a point. And then on the right wing, they're like, Joe Biden's a freaking disgrace. Do you see what he did there? Give us $100 of your money right now, and you get 400% Trump bonuses on the Bucks. It's going to be worth 4 times as much. Like, it's seeming very like wrestling to me, where I'm like, nah, I don't think Chuck Schumer is going to like save Mexicans. But like, if you want to watch CNN and believe that, that's on you. I'm not quite sure the RNC. Their values are aligned with mine as much as they think they are, but they could send me mail every other week, but that's fine because I'm registered. Facepalm said all Western countries are in lockdown except for the US. In my opinion, if Americans agree with the lockdown, it's over for all of us. Facepalm, 2 Jack for the gulag. We got to get stronger. Where are my weights? We got to work out. Americans, New Zealand, lockdown. Australia, lockdown. Europe, they're trying to lock down again. America, we are the beacon of the world. We have to be strong. That's why I try to, I sometimes I should do some things better, but I'm trying to wake up my own side because it's like, that's the game. They turn the right wing into the left wing. They turn the left wing into authoritarians. And then we turn into Canada. We can't become Canada. We have to challenge our own side. We can't just sell vaccines and testing for 20 years. It's cool. Like people are like, but Anomaly, he has to do that. He's fighting the deep state by selling testing. I'm like, he doesn't have to do that. Maybe he does have to do that, but I don't have to like it. It's like, I get it. You think we don't get it? This is why I keep this here to remind you guys. I love science. I have a science knapsack. I put it around a fanny pack. You might see me at a garage sale just showing you how much I love science, but we get it. There's vaccines available. You can get them for free. Wow. Pfizer's making tens of billions of dollars and they're free for us. Where's all this money? What's the government's printing money, giving it to Pfizer? They get it. It's free for us. Yeah, I get it. I could get it anywhere. Where can I get it at CVS? Can I get a vaccine at Walmart? Trump will give me one. Biden will give me one. DeSantis will give me one. Fauci. I get it. It's everywhere. Oh, testing? Oh, that we could test? Yeah, I get it. Here's my idea. Leave me alone. I don't want to be forced tested. I don't want to be forced jabbed. And a mandates aside, I don't want to be sold the vaccine. It's like a Zoloft commercial. You know how many Zoloft commercials I saw with the little fat like ball? He's like, I'm depressed. I'm Zoloft man. It's like, I don't want the Zoloft. I've seen the commercial 1,000 times and it's like, I'm sure some people that watch my channel take Zoloft, and I pray to God that it works for you, but it's like, I don't want it. But it's like this vaccine, all my favorite people are selling it. DeSantis is selling it. Trump's selling it. Like, It's like them selling a Zoloft commercial to me. I've always hated pharmacy commercials. Like, I get it. There's pills and things that I could take, and I could, it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, except like opioid overdoses, which is way darker, but it's like the Johnny Depp version where it's creepier. But in general, like, yeah, we get it. There's all these, like, I'm tired of the big sales pitch. I don't watch Donald Trump to watch a pharmacy commercial, but Anomaly, he has to do it. Okay. I don't want to, I have to pretend like it's cool to me. It's not cool. Just like it wouldn't be cool if I did it. I don't think I'm so, oh no, he thinks he's so special. No, I don't. If I stood up on stage and I said, hey kids, get the Moderna, okay? Get it. I did it. I rushed it. I want to get booed. I don't think I'm special. I would never do that. They said, Anomaly, you need to do this. I'm out. I'd rather be poor. That's the ethics I have. So don't tell me, well, you have to like it. Because yes, if I did that on a stage, I'm disgusting. I'm a sellout. Boo me. Boo me. If I get on stage and say, I did it, I rushed it, the FDA saved the world. Yeah, get your bad jab. I'm not going to mandate it, but get it. I want to be booed because that's gross. That's like a pharmacy ad. I'm a sellout. Oh, Anomaly, who are you sold out to? Who in this equation, who do you think sold out? The one that agrees with you on the stance or the guy that's selling the product 1,000 times? Like, it's like, why would I be the sellout? Like the non-sell approach is not this. I'm not getting on a stage and selling the product. If people want to get it, that's fine. But I'm not even like, I'm tired of the sales pitch. I've seen it a million times. Nigel said, great to see you with Ari the Rugged Man the other day. Was very fun. We got to get past the selling. It's here. What, booster shots forever? I'm over it. I want like a orange juice. That's more my speed. Everyone doesn't have to do the same things. I want orange juice. You want a vaccine? I want an orange juice. I want a coffee. That's just how I feel. All right, 1 or 2 more questions. I'm gonna roll out. Where are we at? Hour 31. All right. Someone said it's like waking up in a 1984 novel. Yeah, for sure. It's just so crazy to me, like the amount of people that they agree with what I'm saying, but they've created a religion. Seriously, it's a full-blown religion around worshiping one guy who's selling a product that they don't want, but they think it's their job to make excuses for why he's selling it. That's why he sells it, because so many people make excuses for it. It's so funny. Did I see the Australia surveillance bill? I did not, but I'm sure it's not great. Someone said, how many people are getting paid to push this stuff into our arms? A lot of people. And here's what I'm saying. Nobody just sells a product for free. Like, I have kombucha here and I'm drinking it and it's not a sales pitch. But if I picked up my kombucha and I said, hey guys, this is this, you should get this. Like, it's a sales pitch. You get what I'm saying? It's like Biden was the #1 recipient from Big Pharma. Donald Trump was the #2 recipient from Big Pharma. All of politicians are getting money from Big Pharma. Maybe they really believe in the product. Maybe they're just taking money for whatever reason. They don't even know it. But chances are, same with a lot of celebrities. It's part of their work routine. I know this for a fact. Like, I'm not saying every celebrity, but yeah, if they get on social media and say, hey, boys and girls, I'm standing here with Gavin Newsom, and I think you should get the chat. Like, do you think they woke up in the morning and said, hey, I'm going to do an infomercial with Gavin Newsom? Like, I think there's a huge budget for that. And I think it's baked into their PR team. And they're like, dude, you got to do this and we're going to do this. It's like showing up at Jimmy Kimmel. It's just on your work schedule. So when Donald Trump stands on stage, I'm not saying he's sold out, but it's like, he wasn't doing this 2 years ago. Like, maybe he's really proud of what he did, but like, I don't know. At a certain point, it's like, let's move on. We heard the sales pitch 1,000 times. Good for you. You're so special. Yeah, you saved the Spanish flu, even though you didn't. I guess, we could pretend that you did or something, and we could lie to ourselves to make you feel good. And then it's time to move on. But if they don't want to move on, it's not my job to act like it's so awesome. If any of my favorite musicians did that, I wouldn't like them. That's just, like, is that crazy to think? Like, if my favorite musician got on stage and said, get your shots, I got mine, it's lame. I don't care if they mandate it or not. It's lame. It's like, hey kids, I'm part of the big, you remember growing up with me, rock star band, you should take opioids with me. Like, I'd be like, this person's a sellout. This person's whack. I'm supposed to pretend like I like that? No, I can't do it. Listen, folks, it's time to get serious. I don't know. My buddy got me this knapsack. I'm so glad because it's such a nifty little thing to have. I love science, okay? I'm really into science. I just watch the news and believe what they tell me, and it's just so fun just watching the science change over and over. Someone said rock stars used to be cool, but even when they weren't that cool. Right Said Fred, they did the I'm Too Sexy song. They're pretty epic. I want to read their tweet real quick because it was kind of cool. They were defending Eric Clapton because Eric Clapton is like one of the only celebrities that's not a complete piece of trash. There's more, but in general. So this is the article that he shared. I just want to read this aloud real quick. The Guardian said, Eric Clapton releases song seen as criticizing official response to COVID. And then Right Said Fred tweeted it and he said, oh no, musician criticizes government. You mean like they've done for decades? So now the authoritarians are trying to brainwash liberals into thinking, oh my God, Eric Clapton's criticizing the government. It's like, that's literally what music's been about for 40 years. Punk bands, rock bands, they've been criticizing the government. Like now it's so crazy. Like Right Said Fred is epic. They get it. I get it. I don't have time. I don't care how famous or cool somebody is. I don't care if it's Trump or my favorite band. Like if you're on the wrong side of this issue, like I don't need a sales pitch. So it's like Eric Clapton gets it. Right Said Fred gets it. If people don't get it, I don't care. A rapper that I like and know, he's doing shows at venues that have vaccine passports. It's lame. I'm not going to call him out right now because I like him as a person, but it's like, he's not a rock star. He's a loser. Like you're not a cool rock star. You're a loser. And there's no excuses for doing that. Okay. I wouldn't do any show if they force people to show a vaccine passport. This guy that I used to follow, this like underground rapper, he's doing shows where they have to show a vaccine passport. I just attended a stadium in San Diego. Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Weezer, packed stadium, no vaccine passport, no testing requirement, no mask requirement. So if they can do it in a stadium, you can do it in a little crappy venue. And if you can't, then don't do your little crappy venue and find another little crappy venue. And if you can't, be a man and turn down the show. It's like these losers are like, well, I have to do it. It's like if Green Day could do a whole stadium, I'm pretty sure you could find a venue that didn't do it. They just don't care. So I don't have time for any rock star, any rapper that is trying to force medication on people. They're losers. They're either sellouts or they're just like low energy, like follower weaklings. I don't care anymore. Like these people are old news to me. I'm like, they deserve to get booed and ratioed. Someone said pharmacy companies making zillions while politicians grab more powers. Trump can shut up with warp speed and his crap. Fauci is a gremlin who got exposed to light and ate after midnight. I mean, I think it's a healthy message to tell the Republican Party. This is what I'm going to say from now on. We've heard the message. People who got it. Just stop talking about it. Seriously, like let's move on and let's become something else. Like we've heard it, we've got it, get it. You want credit for it, you got it. You're the man, even though it's whack what you did, whatever. Okay, let's move on to like the next phase of America. Let's get to the Renaissance, folks. It's time for the Renaissance. We've seen the darkness. Now it's time to see light. Let's start building something again. Anybody sculpt here? Sculpt a Michelangelo painting. Let's paint the walls. Let's do something. Let's build an epic building. It's time for the Renaissance. We've had the dark periods. We had the lockdown. We had the vaccine sales. We got the pharmacy pills. We've seen it. We got it. We heard it. We get it. I don't want a leader that's selling pharmacy products. I don't care if his name's Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Let's start the Renaissance. Let's do something great again. Let's make great music again. Let's make great art again. That's what I want. I don't want pharmacy pitches. Like that's not the sign of a great nation. That's a sign of a declining nation. And look no further than poopy pants Joe Biden. Like, could it be any clearer that our nation is disgusting? Like Joe Biden's pooping his pants on stage and like looking at his watch. Donald Trump's selling vaccines. Like, it's like this is not peak America. Let's make America great again. Let's get back to that agenda where you're not just rambling about pharmacy products all the time and we're trying to be great. Let's do that. I like that. Someone said painting the roses red, painting the town red. Is that a song? Someone said I agree, low vibing actors and musicians got to go. No one cares about them though. That's like the crazy thing is like people People don't like that. Like these people, a lot of people, it's a big illusion, right? They need to seem famous. They need to seem popular. It's all like a thing. Like that those days are over. The real rock stars are like the people telling the truth. Eric Clapton, that's a real rock star. I don't envy these people. Don't look at them and think they're so cool. They're miserable. Imagine doing a vaccine passport show. Miserable. They're not having fun. Don't pray for them. You have fun. You're having more fun than Macron. Emmanuel Macron from France, he walks around with his mask and he goes to events. I don't want to be him. I don't want the power he has. How much power do you have if you got to wear a mask on a world stage like Joe Biden? These people are suffering. You think Joe Biden wants to wear a mask? He's like 76 years old or something. Like Joe Biden doesn't want to wear a mask, but he has to wear a mask because that's his political narrative. So I don't want to be Joe Biden. I don't want that position. I don't want to be Macron. These people are miserable. They're suffering. They're so wicked, and it's like so stressful. Don't think they're having a great time. They're not. ZM said it's only cool to criticize non-communist governments. Yeah, I guess, right? How dare you said pharmacy companies make. Oh, you already read that. My bad. Let me read another one. ZM said LOL at Biden saying Afghanistan exit was a huge success. I mean, it's bad for him, but he's himself, so he's got to make. He's not going to just say like I'm horrible. That's what politicians do. They stick to their guns, and it's a big like, look at me, I did the right thing. But I see what's going on. I see even now conservatives like Ann Coulter are praising him because they're trying, like, this is a new angle I'm looking at, just like analyzing Ann Coulter and people like Pedro Gonzalez, who's on Tucker Carlson a lot. They're starting to say they don't like Biden, but they're saying like, well, at least he exited Afghanistan. Trump said he was going to, so not. So there's even a divide on the Republican Party. Most people are obviously against it, and most people know Joe Biden messed up. But I do see like the debates being had where it's like, I thought we wanted to get out of Afghanistan. But someone said, always coming here for the positive vibes. That's what we try to do. I do my best. Someone said, I'm sad I can't take my boys to the state fair because you have to be vaccinated to go. That's crazy. I just went to a fair in my county and there was no vaccine passport. Yeah, I live in California. I don't know where you guys live, and I'm not trying to tell people to move, but like, it's time to get away from these medical authoritarian psychopaths. I live in California. I went to San Diego Stadium at a packed concert with no vaccine passport. And I also went to a county fair with thousands of people with no passport or no mask. There's places even in California that don't even force that. I don't know where people are at, and that sucks, but it's like, it's time to leave these people. Like, either create your own ecosystem wherever you're at, or like, I don't know. It's like, let these people suffer. I mean, I don't know what state that is, but that sucks. Just, it's very sad, but it's like, I don't know. There's definitely ways around it. Someone said Anomaly deserves a curry chicken dinner for all his hard work. Sacred Smoke, thank you. I do like chicken curry. It's very tasty. I'm not in the mood for chicken curry today. I might have like a salad or something. I don't know. I'm feeling boring. I thought I had an interview at 6, but the guy never messaged me back. So I'm just going to look one more time. I asked him to message. I guess I'm not going. Someone said Asheville is so liberal it hurts. I don't know. I mean, I'm where I'm at, it doesn't seem like people are doing anything, but I guess everywhere has its own dynamic. All the Canadian provinces are pushing the vaccine passport. It's going to come down to like how many people are going to go along with it. I don't know. Like, that moment is coming. That's what I've been trying to explain to people too. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you're like obsessed with making like, let's take Trump out of this. Let's take Biden out of this. Let's take, what, Rand Paul says, or Canada. In your state, in your country, in your area, in your company, this is what it's going to come down to. How many people are going to cave? How many people aren't? So in America, corporations will try to do this. It's up to us. And that's why I'm so annoyed that Republicans are selling the product. Think about it like this. Imagine and tell me if this is a bad example, because maybe it is, but I thought of it today. Imagine if you're a steel manufacturer, you make steel and you cut it up and then you sell it to people who turn it into products. And say you're making steel and it's good, right? It's a good product. There's nothing wrong with it. It's healthy, whatever. But people are taking that steel and they're turning it into shackles. So the biggest distributor of that steel that you're making, they're making shackles and they're putting them all over the world and they're using them to enslave people and they're using them to treat people like animals and prisoners. Is it your moral obligation as a steel manufacturer to stop producing it, or at least stop selling it, or at least make, big statements saying you shouldn't be turning my steel into shackles? I think if I was a steel manufacturer, I think I would stop selling it, because even though I had good intentions with it, the fact that it's being used to enslave people would probably bother me. So I say that because Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, they're selling you this product. If it was a normal year, I would be like, well, I would still think it's weird and cringy, but I'd be like, whatever, but it's still cringy. They're selling it 50 times more than ever. And they're trying to act like, well, I'm against this. It's like, well, but it's happening though. It's happening in New York City. It's happening on a corporate level. It's happening on the airlines. Like it's happening. So does Donald Trump, DeSantis, Sarah Huckabee, et cetera, Mike Pence, do they have a moral obligation to identify the fact that their product is doing that? And I think they do. I know that it's equivalent to a steel manufacturer saying, well, I'm not making shackles. I'm not enslaving anybody. This is just what I'm making. It's like, but you know that they're doing that all over the world. The next step of this control system is going to be vaccine passports, QR codes. And it's already like they're treating people like literal slaves and prisoners if you don't get the vaccine at millions of businesses around the country. I think it's time to stop selling the product, not because I'm an anti-vaxxer or whatever they want to call, because it's so clear the people who got it. The people who didn't want it don't want it. And it's going to be forever used and forced down our throats to control us. So if you really care about freedom and you really care about liberty and you really care about families and children, it's time to stop selling the product. You've sold it enough. You've told us about it enough. The more they sell it, the less I trust these people. And there's no amount of bullying or hate from conservatives that can make me feel differently. I think it's their responsibility as a leader to understand the direction we're going. And this was always the plan from the beginning. This isn't like just popped up. We all saw this coming and it's here. So now we're faced with this sort of thing. And one of the biggest defenses we have against this are people who say no. There's nothing wrong with people, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with people who got it. There's nothing wrong with people who made their decision. But the biggest strength against the tyranny is going to be people who didn't get it. Should it be that way? Of course not. But that's the way it is. We don't live in a perfect world. We're not socialists talking about sharing everything. It's not working. So let's not act like leftists and socialists and act like we live in a different. No, we live in this world. So the biggest defense in Alabama is going to be people who didn't get it. It shouldn't have. So if Trump goes to Alabama and tries to sell the product, he deserves to get booed. And I'm glad they booed him. Why? Because they're the biggest defense against this tyranny. And the more people that get it, the more people that are going to fold like lawn chairs, and the more chance that we're going to have that corporations are going to overpower us and the hospitals are going to overpower us. The only defense we have are two things. One, people who didn't get it and refused to get it, and people who got it who are going to stand up with the people. But I'll guarantee you around 9 out of 10, if they got it, they're not going to stand with you and leave the job. They're going to get that money. You think people who got vaccinated are going to say, oh, well, I'm vaccinated, but I don't think it's right to fire him, so I'm going to leave. No, they're going to stay there. They're going to get that money. They're going to go to work, and they're going to enjoy their privileges, because with all of the news coming out about the vaccine, they want to feel like, well, I got something out of it. I get access. I get to travel. So most people who got it, it's not saying they're bad people, but they're not going to be standing there with the people losing their jobs. So by selling the product, it's hurting us at this point. In a normal world, it wouldn't, but that's what we're dealing with. That's why it's so frustrating to see the Republicans just keep selling it, because it's like it's equivalent to me. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying it's equivalent to a steel manufacturer pumping out steel that's being used for shackles and them sitting back and being like, yeah, well, I'm against shackles. Okay. Are you going to stop selling it though? No, I'm against it, but I'm going to keep selling it. It's the same thing with the vaccine. I'm against mandates, but I'm going to keep pushing it on people. And the more people who get it, the more likely we are to get mandated. That's the game we're playing. In Canada, they have a little chance because they have very little resistance. In Israel, they have less chance because they have less resistance. In Australia, they're getting treated like crap because there is a lot of resistance to people who don't want to get the product. So they're trying to bully them into getting it. That's the world we live in. We need a party or a leader that understands that. And if we don't, it's not our job to act like it's all great. And, like they're the best. It's like, you don't have to do that. It's not a cult. It's okay to, it's okay to voice your disagreements. And that's where I stand. And, I'm open-minded. I've been listening for a year. I haven't heard a good argument against that. I've heard people make excuses. I've heard it 1,000 times. I've heard 20 people want to debate me, thousands of people mad at me, tens of thousands of people lying about me. I get it. I'm listening. I'm not stupid. There hasn't been a great argument against what I just said. So it is what it is. Let me read this. Someone said that's what the conservative movement does, protect the progression of liberal policy. Oh, for sure. They seriously have, if you compare the conservatives of this era to the liberals of the Clinton era, they are left wing on almost every issue. Take Trump away, don't blame him. McConnell, take the characters away, right? Trump, the leader. McConnell, the guy that nobody likes, the neocons. Take everybody out of it. Take your emotion, your hate, your love, take it all out of it, right? If you look at the Republican Party in 2021, let's look at almost every issue. Okay, let's look at social issues. Where did the Republican Party stand in 1995? Were they pro-gay marriage or anti-gay marriage? They were anti-gay marriage. Was the Democratic Party pro-gay marriage or anti-gay marriage? They were anti-gay marriage. The Democratic Party was further right-wing when it comes to social issues in 1995 than the modern Republican Party now. They're further left than Clinton was, and Obama when he even got into office. All right, well, let's look at fiscally. If you look at Clinton, I think he was one of the only presidents to actually balance the books. I'm not saying he was great, but Donald Trump printed more money than Clinton did. He printed like 22% of all U.S. dollars in 2020 with this emergency thing. So fiscally, they're not balancing the budget. They printed so much freaking money last year. They make Obama looked like Ronald Reagan. Like that's how crazy left the Republican Party went under the lockdown. And I'm not blaming Trump. I'm just saying that's what happened. So it's like what people don't realize is they get these characters like George Bush, Obama, and everybody fights but people don't look at the big picture. The Republican Party is absolutely conserving progressive policies. They're moving further and further left, fiscally, economically, socially. They're not conserving anything. They're conserving their power and their identity and their character and their CPAC and TPUSA speeches. It's like a gatekeeping event where they hate when people talk, oh my God, you're a racist, you're an anti-Semite, you're a homophobe. They'll start calling you all these names when you ask legitimate questions like, what are you guys doing? Because I don't think they care that much. I'm not trying to pick on people or pick fights, but it's like if they cared about the truth and integrity, and they would understand why people have their concerns, but instead they write it all off because it's like king of the castle, ivory tower. I get paid $50K for a speech or $20K. I'm the man. I walk, everybody claps, and that's what I like. I like to be loved. Everybody loves to be loved. There's nothing wrong with it, but they don't conserve anything. So it's like on one hand, you don't want to break the party up and make everybody hate each other. But on another hand, you're not doing anything. You're not winning anything. So that's why I say what I say. It's not like my emotions for Donald Trump are so severe. They're not at all. I actually love the guy. It's just like I'm not a cultist and I'm not a sports fan. So I don't know what, in order for us to win, people got to just stop caving so much on so many issues. But that's the whole issue. It's like they get characters to do certain things, and then certain people defend those things because they like the character who did it, So it's like a big WWE show where it's like, I get it. You like The Undertaker, you like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but I don't have to. I don't know. That's just not. I'm not in the same. I don't see it that way. Someone said I sprinkle COVID on my oatmeal. That's very reckless. You shouldn't do that. Bad man. It's not a topping. Okay. Someone said read the Bible, please. I think that's great advice. Someone said nice kombucha, bro. I do what I can. Someone said vaccine mandates and passports are the greatest threat we've ever faced. 1,000%. If you read my friend at work, I'm not going to out him because he's my friend and he's trying to make it work, but he's refusing to give in. If you read the list of what they're doing to him, and this is happening to millions of people right now, it's like you can't sit in the same room, you can't go to meetings, you can come in the office. Like they're literally treating him like shit. Everybody in the office who's vaccinated can walk around, have meetings, eat together, even though they can contract and give the virus pretty much just as easily. And then he comes in, wear a mask, can't talk to anybody, can't go. Like, they literally want to bring him to the office to treat him like a slave. I'm not using that word lightly. Slavery is like not something to joke about. Slavery in Libya is very, very serious. Slavery from the 1700s is very, very serious. Slavery is nothing to joke about, but it is a word, and it transcends just what happened in Libya in the past. There are different types of slavery: mental slavery, physical slavery. I mean, this idea that you're going to treat somebody like a second or third tier citizen with covering their mouth, their smile, their identity, and forcing them to feel like shit for 10 hours. This is so abusive. People are tired of being abused. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what Donald Trump should be saying. You can hate on me all you want. You could cry, this and that. This is what he should say if he cares. This is what he should be saying, because this is what people are facing. And when you just do a fair weather like little thing, it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. He's clearly better than Joe Biden, but this is what we're facing. Like that guy said, the vaccine mandates, it's not a little issue. It's going to either make or break the whole world. So if Republicans are selling the product that they're using to lock us down, they're not helping us. It's like someone shaking your hand, but then, giving the other side like ammunition or something. Like that's like what they're doing. The more people who get it, the more people who are going to cave. The more people who cave, the less of a chance we have to fight this. As much as DeSantis and Trump are helping us, it's like they're simultaneously working against us by trying to get people to get this product that people clearly don't want, that's being forced down people's throats. At this point, normally, I don't care who gets vaccinated. At this point, obviously, I see the writing on the wall. Would I rather 100% people get vaccinated or less? It's like, well, if 100% people get vaccinated, let's look at countries that are 100% vaccinated. Let's look at Israel. Let's look at the data. What benefit is it going to reach herd immunity? Well, they're saying it's not. So if 100% of people got the vaccine, I don't think herd immunity is going to happen, and neither does Bloomberg and a lot of these mainstream sites. But I do think vaccine mandates would be imminent. So I think that America would be dead on arrival if enough people get it. So why is DeSantis and Trump so gung-ho with getting it into everybody? Herd immunity is not coming. And that's not like a conspiracy theory or anti-vax. That's like mainstream data where they're now admitting in NBC and MSNBC that it's a mythical concept at this point that we'd reach herd immunity because the Delta variant is so severe. So, the chances of vaccine mandates would be like nearly 100%, and the chances of herd immunity would be like nearly 0%. Like that's, I can't say that for sure as far as percentages, but it's like, I don't see like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, like, let's get the jab. It's like, do you want there to be passports at Walmart in Alabama? Because that's how you get passports at Walmart. At this point, can you wait a little bit? Can we like research the data, watch it unfold in other countries? And like, so that's, I do what I say for a reason. And we're going to need people who got it as well to be like, I don't want the booster shot, like, it's like how it's good. It's good when people make their own decisions. We're going to need as many people as possible, because anybody that doesn't, take some sort of a stand it's all a numbers game at this point. Someone said, since when should we trust mainstream? You shouldn't. But what I'm talking about is I reference certain mainstream articles when they show their hypocrisy in the sense of, if they say herd immunity is coming and then they say herd immunity is mythical, that's why I reference that. Because I'm just saying the experts, the media, they're saying that. I say it as a form of protection where it's like, I don't have to go to the depths of the internet to make my point, and there's nothing wrong with doing that if you want to, but that's how I operate with my news analysis, because I understand that they don't value other people. And they say, well, you need to trust the experts in the mainstream media. I don't, but at the same time, they do enough of flip-flopping that I could do a whole presentation, which I'm doing this week, of how many times they flip-flopped, to the point where it's like, I'm not saying that, Bloomberg is. I'm not saying that for people like, I'm saying that for people that are watching the video thinking like, oh, when are we going to censor this? Like, is this misinformation? It's like, I'm not saying this. Your allies and experts are saying this stuff. Like this, I can make I don't have to go to a conspiracy site to make my point. I could just listen to the CDC director and be like, she literally said this. Like, Dr. Fauci said this a year ago. Like, this is not like they're hilarious. They just go back and forth. All right, one more comment and we're going to roll out. How dare you said Ontario, Canada Education Secretary is mandating vaccines against parents' consent. It's getting crazy. I mean, we're gonna end on a positive note because we got to keep it uplifting. But if you're in Canada, ultimately you're in control of yourself, your family, your kids, like whatever that situation is, whatever you can control, you can control. So you can't be afraid of it. And if you live in Canada, you have to understand these things are coming. I live in California. I understand there are things coming. How bad is it going to get? I pray for the best, but I prepare for the worst. If tomorrow they say what's happening in Canada happens in California, like people are talking about with the bills that they're trying to pass, I'm ready for it. I'm not pumped about it. It's not ideal, but you got to, it is what it is, and you just got to be ready for it. Some people are leaving Canada. Some people are moving to different provinces. Some people are just sticking it out, and their form of rebellion is, just doing their own thing and living in their own world. I don't know what that is. Some people are going to have harder journeys than others, but you just got to prepare yourself and don't fear. Don't have fear in the wicked world. Don't have fear in the beast system. Don't have fear for the authoritarians. You got to come to terms with what's happening because it's happening whether you get scared or not. Like whether it's happening or not, it's going to come down to a numbers game, but the most important number is your number, so what you decide to do, that's going to make or break everything. So I think, don't be afraid. Don't, someone said his head is too big to talk to. Why not just click the X button? I don't know. I'm trying to help people out that are in tough situations, but people are very, people are very not pumped with me sometimes, but I don't know. They pick weird times. Maybe it's on delay. People pick weird times to get mad. I'm talking like inspirational for 10 minutes. And then people are like, he's such a downer. And it's like, what? Like, why would you pick this time to say that? But in general, that's what you got to do is not have fear and just make moves accordingly. Got to figure out what's best for you. Some people want to stay in New York City. Some people want to stay in Canada. Some people want to get the hell out. I've been in both situations. So I don't, at the end of the day, just don't freak out because that's not, panicking and getting fearful is not going to help. Steph Ann said, why aren't you talking about AB 455? Well, apparently it got shut down for the end of this year, but Stephanie, you don't have to do this, but maybe you don't care, but try to treat me with respect. Like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing? It's like, why aren't you doing this? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm a nice guy. I answer questions, but I don't message you and say, why don't you have 750 million views? Why haven't you done as much as me? Why haven't you got this message out to people? Why haven't you made a video on Carrie Mullis? Why haven't you done that? Why haven't you done with Israel? How come you're not showing the data? Because I'm not you, Stephanie. So I do my own thing at my own time. I'm one person and I'm very busy. So I've mentioned that bill 7 times. Why do I not do what you want to do when I want to do? Because I'm not your son. I'm not your husband. I'm not your slave. And I'm a free human being that works probably 50 times as hard as you do and has a lot more success than you'd have. So, have a little bit of respect when you ask these questions. If you want to know about the bill, I don't know. Why don't I talk about the flood in India? Why don't I talk about the hurricane? Why don't I talk about the forest fires? Why don't I talk about India? Why don't I talk about what's going on? Why don't I say what Brett Weinstein does? Why don't I do what Joe Rogan does? Why don't I do what Maria does? Why don't I do what Tucker Carlson does? Why don't I talk about Afghanistan more? Why don't I talk about Joe Biden more? Why don't I talk about Jen Psaki more? Why don't I talk about FDA approval? How come I'm not talking about what happened at the FDA? Because I'm one person. And if I was as psycho as you, I'd probably, lose my mind. So in order to stay calm and peaceful and productive, I'm not a psychopath. And I'm not saying you are, not trying to be rude, but it's like, have a little bit of respect. You don't understand. I wake up in the morning to 100 comments and people freaking out at me at 6 a.m. You think that's healthy for me to walk out of bed and read people like you just screaming at me? Of course it's not. You wouldn't want to do that. And I would never do it to you. So don't do it to me. It's like, I wake up, 50 comments. It's like, dude, I don't live my life in that world. I do my work. I've done a lot. I could retire today and I could say proudly that I've done a million times more than most people would ever do in their entire life in a year. So, I keep going because I want to and I'm passionate about it and I like it, but it's like, have a little respect for me. And also someone said, why didn't you talk about the dude with the gator? Exactly. There's a million stories going on all the time. Like, yeah, I don't know what you want me to tell you about what's going on in California. Like, it's crazy. Our politicians suck. They pass thousands of sneaky bills all the time. And I've mentioned it 7 times, but have I focused on as much as you want? No, because, at a certain point, there's only so much you could do and there's ways around it. But, if the legislature is going to do a bill and people protest, I've been to protests. People are always going to protest. There's things you can do. There's things you can't do. You could try your hardest, but, have a little bit of respect for me. And if you don't, just click the X button or unfollow, because, I'm great at balancing my life and I'm great at staying peaceful, but people don't realize, people that are supporters of mine just treat me like shit all the time now. I wake up to 50 comments of mothers freaking out, people bugging out, AB 555, AB 457, AB this country, that country, this bomb, that bomb. Like, if you live in that country, you're going to drive yourself insane. And if you're going to drive yourself insane, the least I could ask is try not to drive me insane, because I'm not insane and I enjoy my life. And I wake up to millions of people's opinions, millions of people talking shit about me. It's like, you think I want to hear you like hyperventilating at me in a Facebook comment when, over 3,000 people are watching on 2 platforms? Like, people say, you need to talk about that. It's like, that's how you guys talk to people. If I went into someone's live stream, I'd be like, hey, did you see this? Or like, hey, could you talk about this? Or like, I would love to see this. Like, I don't talk to people like that. Like, you need to do this. It's like, I don't need to do shit. I could turn off my camera right now and not make a video for 3 months. I don't have to do anything. Neither do you. I get it. There's times where I can handle myself better, but the way people freak out at me, I'm telling you, if you take anything besides AB 45474, understand that most of your life is controlled by you. If that creeps you out, leave California. If it passed and they tried to do it, guess what would happen? I live in a county where there's an actual community and actual families and actual patriots. So it's not going to fly in my county. I don't live in Los Angeles. So I go to the fair and nobody gives me a test. I've never had a test. I was just at a stadium in one of my favorite bands in a packed house with tens of thousands of people, and I never got one. I don't listen to these people. I don't care if they pass it or not. Cool. Good luck. I'm not listening. So, it's like, I don't care. I mean, I could cover it. I have, but I don't listen to these people. They got all sorts of ideas. I'm not part of their sicko medical world. So if you do anything, regardless of talking about AB, whatever, and I understand they're trying to make vaccines mandatory for everybody, please get some peace, get some rest, enjoy yourself. If you have kids, go play with them. If you have a husband, go give them a hug. If you have family members you want to talk to, give them a call. If you have a friend you want to FaceTime with, give them a call. If you like the beach, go to the beach. If it's too cold and you're not near the ocean, go to the lake. If there's no lake, go camping. If you're afraid to go camping, take a walk. If you can't take a walk, ride a bike. If you can't ride a bike, go watch your favorite documentary or something. Like, enjoy yourself, have a good time. I think don't let this stuff bug you out. And, a lot of the trials and tribulations we're going through it's not just Biden or Democrats and Republicans. It's also like how much we intake and how, most of your life is going to be how much of your cell phone you're on and how much work you do towards your passions. Like, you control more than anyone else. If California goes psycho, I'm ready. I get it. I see the writing on the wall. Trust me. I'm going to read this real quick. Dude, I still appreciate you. In fact, maybe a little more. Let me see. I like that you aren't a follower. I love Trump and DeSantis, but I don't want the V. And by talking about how great it is and getting to make it, nobody has a problem then. Yeah, I didn't want it, and I don't want it now more than they act like it's great. God bless you. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. And there's a lot of, it's a lot of people get it. A lot of people don't, but I would say a majority of people get it. And in the Trump and conservative world, I would say as much as there's more backlash, there's also way more love. People are much more reasonable than the left has been, much more thoughtful, much more agreeance. Like, it reminds me of like 2016 when certain things change, like certain people go one way and certain people go another way. It's not trying to split people up, but like most people get what I'm saying. And it's like basic common sense. And so many people are like, dude, I felt this way for a year, but I never saw a conservative account say it. So I felt like I was going crazy. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, their common sense is like, something's not right with what's going on. But everybody's like a yes man. So, it's all gravy, but I'm not trying to argue with people, but I'm just saying in general, like, I don't say that because I'm so mad at what you said. God bless you, whatever the woman was. I say it because, like, I think you spend too much time yelling at me, yelling at this, freaking out. Like, and I don't know you personally, but please take some time to ground yourself, settle yourself, and understand that, for instance, I don't think I spend 12 hours a day on my phone, but between listening to it when I'm out, listening to it in the car, doing live streams, having it playing music or something, I'm at like 12 hours a day of screen time. That's frightening. That's really creepy. Do you know why? Because there's only 24 hours in a day and I sleep a lot. So that means most of the day my phone's on. I'm either live streaming, I'm either recording or listening to music, and I put down my phone a lot. I'm not on it that much, but that's how much I'm apparently on it. Half of the day. I live half of my life in virtual reality. That's kind of creepy. I don't like, do I even live in the real world? Like, I'm not trying to be like trippy, but it's like, if I spend that much time on my cell phone or my cell phone's on, that's crazy. But there's a silver lining of that. It's like, that just shows you how much control you have over my life. As much as I hate, or I'm not gonna say hate, but as much as I don't like Joe Biden, I think he's a trash president and person. As much as I disagree with Operation Warp Speed, whatever, like, I understand at the end of the day, my life is not going to be made or broken by Donald Trump or Joe Biden. My life is going to be made or broken by how much time I spend on my damn cell phone, how freaked out I get over stuff, and how I manage and balance my time. So that's why I say that to you, because I think the same thing for myself. I don't think I'm better than you or I'm special. I'm just saying, like, it's almost empowering when you realize you don't have to freak out about everything all the time, because the amount of discipline you have and the amount of time that you do the right thing or get off your cell phone is going to make or break your life. I stopped trading stocks and crypto. I like stocks. I like crypto. I made money. I lost money. It was just an energy drain. I ended up selling crypto, probably losing out on a lot of money. I don't regret it one bit. Do you know why? Because I stopped watching charts go up and down, and it was stressful and it's not fun. Now I go to the beach. Now I do something. I wake up early. I go out late. I go on walks. I do things that are fun. So I don't even care that I lost out on a lot of money, because it's like I was staring at a screen too much, and that changed my life more than my opinion on Donald Trump. Who cares what I think on Donald Trump? If you don't like it, click on follow. I don't care. I don't care if you agree with me. Seriously. It's like, it's not going to make or break my life, and it's not going to make or break your life. What is, though, is how much time and energy you give to certain things on here on your phone, and how much time you decide to put that down and do something else. I had a lunch meeting today with my buddy, great guy. That's why I was there. And they scanned for like a QR code for the menu. It was like a QR code menu. And I said, hey, can I have a physical menu? So I got the physical menu. And at the end of lunch, he said, I have a question. How come you didn't scan the QR code? Are you paranoid of the QR code or the phone thing? And I said, no, not at all. The reason I don't scan the QR code is because when I go out to a restaurant, I don't want to be on my phone. I don't use my phone at all. So when I'm at a restaurant, I value that time being out of my cell phone. So I don't want to scan a QR code at a restaurant and be on my cell phone. I don't even have my cell phone. I put it away, and I asked them for a physical menu because it's much more pleasant. It's much more pleasant to live in the real world and have a real conversation with real people and not stare at my phone and look on a screen. I want a physical menu. So that's why it's not because I'm paranoid. I do it for that reason. If I go to the beach, I don't want to be on the beach on my cell phone. I'm in the ocean body surfing. I'm on my phone way too much, but I also work a lot. So, most of the time I'm on my phone. Almost 90% of it's probably me working, so I don't trip about it that much, but I value time outside it. And, I don't want to be reading messages all the time. I don't want to be freaking out all the time about every bill. There's going to be bills passing all the time. Doesn't mean to ignore it, but it's not like I'm not doing anything. I'm probably doing more than a lot of people. So just make sure you balance yourself as well, because more than Trump or Biden or Fauci or the FDA, what's going to make or break your life is going to be how much time you spend on your cell phone, what you do on your cell phone, and how much time you're able to disconnect from it and enjoy your life. The best moments in life are not on the cell phone. The best moments in life are with your friends, with your family, at a concert, at a sports game, playing a sport, going in the ocean, whatever. That's going to be the best moments of your life. It's not going to be commenting and yelling at me about a bill and vice versa. Someone said, why are you still complaining? I'm not complaining at all. But Dr. Gatto, you're one of those people, my man. God bless you. Whatever your passion or hobby is, I pray that you spend time on that. And this is not a complaint. I don't look at you. You've been here for an hour and a half just saying things that I guess I could perceive as rude or argumentative. And I don't think down at you at all, Dr. Gatto. I'm not mad at you at all. I'm just like, I'm disappointed that you're spending so much time yelling at me in all caps. And I wish whatever you do love, if there's a channel that you do love, that I hope that you watch that, something that brings you more joy or that you connect with more. I do hope that you watch that. And if you have a skill or a hobby, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're talented at something or you enjoy something. I hope that you focus on that, because there's got to be a better time. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's got to be a better time than commenting negatively on my account, because I'm not that important or I'm not that special. So if you If you don't like what I'm doing, trust me, it's not going to it doesn't matter that much. Just spend your energy in a more productive way or more fun way. I can't imagine that that's fun for you. I'm having a blast because I'm talking, I'm hanging out with people I like, etc. Someone said, and yet you are here wasting your time with many others. I don't know if you're talking to me, but I don't consider this a waste of time. Robert said, I think Trump was a puppet to draw true Americans for a list. A lot of people would be mad at you for saying that, Robert, but I think it's a good, it's okay to think that, because I do find it very weird that it's like January 6th, everybody gets set up, and now, everybody's on a list, right? As soon as Joe Biden gets in office. Very weird timing and very sloppy. So I like thinking that way. Like I like thinking that stuff, but some people will be like, you're a traitor, you're bad, you're a Democrat. I don't know. Like me, I like accounts that challenge me. Like I like accounts that say things that, well, you like Rand Paul, right? I'm like, I love Rand Paul. Well, did you know Rand Paul did this? And I'm like, I consider it. I don't love Rand Paul so much that I'm going to blog. I'm like, interesting. I'm not a huge hater. I'm not a huge idol worshiper. And I love learning. I love learning about people I like. I don't know. It's not, especially in politics. I don't like harass normal people, but if you're in politics and you're running for office and you're in charge of all of our tax money and stuff, it's worth scrutinizing, right? These people are make or breaking the economy, etc. So I hear you, brother. And but a lot of it's crazy when you think like that and you have these critical thoughts. People will be very nasty to you. Someone said being on Facebook is an addiction. Everything is, and it's okay to, everybody has. I spend too much time on my cell phone even when I'm not working, but identifying that and being like, okay, I want to do this. I've had such a good summer. Seriously, I've had like maybe the best summer of my life. And that's because I got off my cell phone for so long. It's like but I also worked a lot, and I've had maybe the most prosperous summer that I've ever had. So I'm enjoying my life. Although all this crazy stuff's happening, it's like I do what I can, I get in there, but I get out. And like, I was walking around somewhere today, and I get recognized almost everywhere I go. Someone said, hey, like Anomaly, I was on the phone, and she's like, oh, I don't mean to bother you. And I was like, no, you're good. Let me get off the phone. So I got off the phone, I talked to her. Like, it was a beautiful moment. I'm just here. I'm in the present moment. We're having a conversation. Like I love putting my phone down. I love getting away. I can't. Everybody's addicted to something, but it's like it's nice to take a break and be aware of that, and figure out. It's hard to get away from your cell phone. So when you can put it down and find something that it's easy for you to transition on, it's definitely something great. Someone said I missed the 90s. They were good years. Cosmic Squirrel said, I'm going to plant some flowers and fun fruit trees shortly. Life is beautiful. That's what I'm saying. It's like things are crazy, but also things are also kind of cool. It's like, it's always going to be like that. There's always going to be, this is something that, the Tao Te Ching says. Tao Te Ching is by Lao Tzu. It's like an ancient, I would say, philosophy book. Some people consider it their religion, but it's not my religion. I like it as like a thought process. It's like, interesting to think about. But the Tao Te Ching says, you can't, like, good and evil. It's like it's like they explain the yin and the yang. It's like, okay, this is defined by this. How do you know that something is tall? You know that something is tall because something else is short. You get what I'm saying? There would be if everybody looked like Yao Ming wouldn't be tall. Yao Ming could be short if there were other people who are 10 feet. So that's the way the world works. It's not like a spiritual hippie thing. It's just the truth. It's like, there is no tall without short. And certain people that are considered short are actually tall. Everything is defined by itself. There is no tall without short. You need both in order to figure out where things stand. And that's with good and evil too. It's like, evil is wicked. You shouldn't like it or appreciate it or anything. It's okay to stand against it and call it out. But as far as like good and evil, good is measured against evil, like tall is measured against small. So in the sense of like, is so much wicked stuff going on today? Absolutely. There's so much stuff that it's like the world has lost their collective mind over COVID in a way I've never seen. I'd much rather be watching Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles in 1993 than doing whatever the hell we're doing now. But at the same time, there's also smartphone, Uber Eats. There's also, travel before COVID, I guess. But like, there's so much things that are so great. There's so many more healthy food stores nowadays. And like, there's definitely a lot bad that's going on, but there's also a lot of good. So I think it's not to say that like you should be obsessed with like the bad things, because it's not true, but understand like that's how the world works. There's always going to be pros, there's always going to be cons, there's always going to be good. Unfortunately, unless we get to heaven, this turns into heaven. But when that time comes, on this wicked world, there's going to always be a balance, and there's always going to be good and evil. So it's not to say, oh, I'm so happy about what's going on, but there is no short without tall. It's defined by each other, and vice versa. So I think that's a profound statement, but I think it goes hand in hand with like gratefulness, appreciation, and making sure you count your blessings at least as much as you're complaining about bills and politicians and stuff. Someone said Latin word for religion means to bind. Someone said that's a long way to say it's all relative. Yeah, there you go. You get it. Someone said the world isn't great now, but at one point people were eating their babies. Geez, was that really happening? Well, I guess in like the Bolshevik Revolution or something, when people were broke, that's gross. But I get if you're saying like mass famines. I've said this in the past, but people used to have to hunt. People used to have to like, at a certain point, there were no Ford cars. Like Ford took over the car market, but it's like Henry Ford. Yeah, it's like, I got to go on a horseback and I got to go like hunt. And like, I mean, I'm sure it was fulfilling, but we in some ways we're the most privileged generation ever. Even if you're broke in this era, sometimes it's better than maybe it's not as good as being broke in 1970, but it's better than being broke in 1830. You know what I'm saying? It's better. So that's, I try to count my blessings a lot. And I think people that maybe see my tweets or one video, maybe they don't see that or they don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. But as much as I talk about policies I don't like and stuff, I try to be more grateful in my personal life and in general in my streams, because I don't know. I don't feel like complaining all the time is the best solution. But I get it, though. I get upset as well. Someone said Jesus loves Democrats more than Republicans. I don't think that's true, David. I think Jesus loves all his children, but I think Jesus likes us more, David. You want to hear that? Is this a fight? He says Jesus loves Democrats more than Republicans. No, David, Jesus loves Republicans more than Democrats. I mean, we'll find out. But in general, I think Jesus loves all his children, but some of his children are being very wicked, and everybody is getting lost in the sauce nowadays. But I think, certain people are being even a little crazy. So only time will tell. I bet a lot of people would take the bait, but bro, I'm not even mad at you, man. I'm not mad at this guy. Like, I think Jesus loves you, David, even if you're a Democrat. But it's like you can't bait me. I'm not that easy to bait. Like, you want me to be like, oh no, Jesus loves Republicans, damn it. Like, it's like, bro, come on, dude. Let's be humans again. Let's talk about something we enjoy. Let's not try like, oh, let's talk about politics. Oh, you got me. Oh no, David with the big banger. Oh man, I'm gonna go back to this. Come on, bro. We're all adults here. Not all of us, but probably most people. So goofy. Listen, David, we all love science here. We're big into the science, David. I got a fanny pack that says science, so we can get along on that. Oh my God, this is pretty funny though. Someone said, going deep, we are Mousetopia. Watch it on YouTube. It's crazy. Sounds like a cool name, Mousetopia. I've never heard of it, but I like Utopia mouse. I like a good wordplay. Someone said, I'd love to get a white hat. Great hats. GodBlessHats.com. You just go to GodBlessHats.com. They're there. My merch guy is fantastic. Jared's epic. He does a great job. We get it. We stitch it. He ships it. He's quicker. They're better. He's awesome. We recently gave some to like a donation charity. They're doing some event. We gave away some free hats. He did a great job. Someone said, want a conversation? I don't know what that means right now with you. Can I bring people on Facebook? I don't know if I could do that when I have both streams going, but I got to go in a minute or two. Someone said, I have a fanny pack with a Nike check that I use from a wallet when I wear. Fanny packs are as cool as you are. It's one of those things like they say that the clothes doesn't make the man makes the clothes. So if you're cool, you could pull off anything. You could pull off suspenders. You could wear all pink. You could wear all black. You could wear all white. The clothes don't make the man makes the clothes. So if you're cool, you could wear a fanny pack. Fanny packs are so not cool that they're cool. Even if you're a huge loser and you're wearing a fanny pack, in my opinion, that's very cool. Like if there's like a nerd with suspenders and glasses wearing a fanny pack, to me, that's like super cool. Like, cause it's just like, so like, I don't care. If you don't care what other people think, you're like, I'm wearing a fanny pack. Like that's what makes fanny packs so cool. Cause not everybody would be afraid to wear them. But if you just rock it like unapologetically, that's like a badass. It's like a badass thing to do. Someone said 150 nurses were fired in Houston for not willing to take the vaccine. That's gross. And if they have shortages, hopefully they rehire them. But God bless those nurses who stood up for themselves. Someone said fanny packs are lame. No, they are lame, but that's what makes it so cool. Where it's like if you're willing to wear a fanny pack, like the science, this is kind of goofy, but in general, like if you have a Nike fanny pack, people are like, oh, they're so lame. Yeah, that's why I wear it. I put it right around my stomach like this. And now I'm wearing it. What are you gonna say something to me if I'm at a garage sale with a fanny pack? That's what makes it so dope. Because people will look at it, oh man, that's so lame. And you're like, is it though? Is it lame? If you have the confidence to wear a fanny pack, it's epic. Because it's so lame in other people's heads. It's like wearing a spinny cap with the little spinny thing. It's like most people, yeah, you look like a goofball wearing it. But if you're so confident that you'll wear anything, that's what makes it cool. Someone said 4 out of 5 doctors smoke Camels. That's science. I don't know if it is anymore, but it used to be, right? They used to love the cigarettes. Someone said it's a Manny pack. I mean, that's one way to put it, but I'm not like a huge fanny pack wearer, but I respect weird people. Like if you're out there just being yourself, everybody's so, I wear what I wear. Like, so I met someone today who recognized me and she was like, I said I was in a business meeting. And she said, you're not in business attire. Because I was wearing, y'all can see, I'm wearing like gym shorts. They're like red gym shorts. And she was like, you don't look like you're in business attire. And I said, well, at this point, I could wear whatever I want to a business meeting because I don't give a crap. So it's like, it's almost more bad. Yeah, I'm not wearing a suit and tie to every business meeting. I might wear a suit and tie. I like wearing a suit and tie, but I'm in the driver's seat in certain points. So it's like, I could wear whatever I want to a meeting. It's like, if I wear a spinny cap, it doesn't even matter. Like that's what makes it so cool. It's like you don't even care. Like Kanye West is always dressing all goofy and stuff. He just doesn't care. People are like, oh my God, he looks so dumb. He's walking around with like sandals and like bean bags and stuff. And people are like, what the hell is he doing? He sells it for like $500 a t-shirt and it sells out every second. People are like, dude, Kanye's so dumb. It's like for someone who's so dumb, he's making a shitload of money off of like a cotton product. It's like $600 t-shirts. Like people are like, oh my God, sells out in 20 seconds. He's got like flip flops. He's just like walking. He looks like a character out of a movie. Shit, it's working. He's building like domes and stuff. Like I think it's cool. It's a little goofy, but if you got confidence, you can pull off anything. Someone said Texas Greg Abbott hired militant out-of-state ventilator medical professionals to replace the staff they fire, former Cuomo medical professionals. I haven't seen that, but Texas Governor Abbott, I mean, he's definitely a sneaky character in this political world. Trump seems to like him, but I'm not a huge fan. All right. Someone said the first quacks were graduates from colleges. I don't know what that. I really stirred up the thing with the fanny pack. I see a lot of people loving and hating fanny packs. All right, one more super chat and I'm going to leave. Someone said expectant mothers love the taste of Lucky Strike cigarettes. The science in the 1950s and phthalimide helps with nausea, which leads to lameness. Yeah, I know for sure. You could. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just saying if you look at the past, I'm sure you're right. They had all these the experts and the doctors. They always loved like things that now weren't they putting asbestos in housing and stuff. So yeah, they're a little late with the science. They're almost always late with the science. There's very few things that they're actually right about. Water is generally pretty good. Water stood the test of time, but a lot of their other products have not. But anyway, God bless you guys. Appreciate you. Have a beautiful day. And I'll be back again. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for listening. And if you have, I mean, I don't want to give anybody advice, but I have a lot of videos. I can't help you. I'm having someone on, Conservative Ivy. She seems to be, I'm trying to do an interview with her tomorrow. She seems to be very knowledgeable with like how to sue and fight back against mandates. I believe she was successful against Yale. So I'm going to have her on and try to hear how she did it, etc. And she seems to be helping people. Conservative Ivy at Instagram. That's all I know for now. As far as all my live streams and stuff, I go through a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of articles, especially my FDA approval one. I don't know what to do as far as I can only live my life and deal with what I have to deal with. But if I had a boss that was trying to force a product on me that I didn't want, I would for sure, before I got a lawyer, before I did anything, I would have everything all these stuff I talk about, every article that I talk about in my videos, I would print them out or screenshot them, do whatever I have to do, and present a whole argument. Not just like, if you want a medical exemption or a religious exemption, that's on you. But once you have all your ducks in a row, don't just go out quietly and just say, okay, yeah, you're right. Let them know they're wrong. Let them know the science. Let them know the data. Let them know the data out of Israel. Let them know the flip-flop on herd immunity. Let them know the flip-flop on efficacy. Let them know the flip-flop on, whether it stops transmission or not. Let them know all the flip-flops. Don't let these people have it easy in the sense of like, oh, yeah, I'm so bad. Like, no, if they're going to fire you, if they're going to treat you like crap, if they're going to make you bow, make sure they have all the information so they can at least feel like crap when they do it. You're not the good person here. You get what I'm saying? The data, this information, it's not to say it's right or wrong, but if my choice, are you going to cover liability? Because Pfizer doesn't. Are you going to cover liability? Moderna's not going to. Are you going to cover liability? Are you going to do this? Are you aware that Israel has more cases and deaths today than they did last August 30th? Are you aware of this? Make sure they know all this stuff. Don't go out quietly. Don't let them just bully you. You might not win. You might not do everything under the sun. And, I don't want to tell people what to do with their body. That's your choice. But if you make that decision, don't let them just push you around. Use every article you can. I've done my best to try to put it out in my videos and stuff and let them see everything. Because seriously, like I said in my FDA video, the CDC went from saying that they don't think you could transmit it to you can. They went from saying in Israel that the Pfizer is 95% effective, that now over time it's only 39% effective. Now they're giving everybody 3 boosters. Ask your boss, when do we need the booster shot? Don't just go quietly. Say, okay, when's the booster shot coming? Because Israel, now you're not fully vaccinated if you don't get the booster. So when do we got to get the booster? If I don't get the booster, am I not? Give them every question. Give them every angle. Make sure they know, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know anything. These people are just followers or losers or authoritarian psychos. They don't know any of this shit. They're going to melt down under pressure. So, the most successful people are going to be people who really present their argument. And even if they still dismiss you, at least you got that in front of their face. And at least they're faced with a moral dilemma where they at least will acknowledge, I'm not in the right. I'm a bad person. I'm just I'm out of control. Let them know they're authoritarian. Let them know they're tyrants. Let them know that. And then if they still decide to fire you, if that's your choice, then you could talk to Conservative Ivy or other people if that's the route you want to go, or get another job. I know it's difficult, but I think they're hoping people fold like lawn chairs. They're hoping people just give up. They're hoping people don't say anything. They're hoping everybody just goes out quietly. And if enough people don't, that's how you win. So you can't control what everyone else does, but you can control what you do. And I think I'm not telling people what to do because millions of people will get it, millions of people won't. But if you've made the decision in your own head that you don't want to, give them all the information, get all the articles that I talk about, get all the articles together and present it to them and just be honest and nice about it at first, or fair. Just be like, I want you to see all of this stuff, and this is part of my reasoning. People say, well, what's your reasoning? I have a lot of reasoning. My age, my health, my diet, my routine, my allergies, things that I do and don't do, my like what type of person I am, what I like to put in my body, and then also the liability, then also the efficacy, then also the fact that I think it's even bigger than this now, to the point where I don't want to sign up for I don't agree that my corporation or my government or the airlines, I don't think that they should be able to have this type of power, because as soon as I get the 2, then when do they decide I get the 3rd? When do they decide you have to get the 4th? What happens if you have a reaction to the 3rd one, like hundreds of people do? And, then what happens? Then do you have to get that one? And what if you have Guillain-Barré, like the drummer from Offspring? Or what if you have one of the rare side effects? Or what if your doctor comes to the conclusion that something else is going on and it's safer to wait a little bit? Are they going to treat you like shit? They're going to treat you like shit. So you have to let your doctor, your boss know. And I believe personally, my friend works in New York City. I believe his company's going to cave. Why? Because none of their policies make sense. They're only testing unvaccinated people. Well, vaccinated people can get and spread the virus, and they're saying 97% of people or 99% of people are in hospitals. That's what they're saying now, because they're taking data from January until now, and they're not telling people. Just wait for a year and a half later, when they're not able to do that in 2021. They're not going to have the luxury to be able to sneak how to lie with statistics on people. So you're going to start seeing the real hospital numbers and who really took it and who really didn't, and you're going to see what's happening in Israel. It's going to be exactly the same probably in 2022. So don't think that it's going to work for them. They're going to fire you and it's just going to work. No, they're going to do what the NFL did, and they're going to do what Royal Caribbean did, and they're going to only test vaccinated people, right? Or unvaccinated people. And as soon as you go back to work, and if you're unvaccinated, well, eventually people who are vaccinated are going to get COVID, because that's what's happening all over the world. And once they start getting COVID, then they're going to come to the conclusion, probably like the NFL did, well, now they're testing vaccinated people too, because it's not just they're trying to treat you like shit, hoping they cave. It's not scientific to just test one over the other. That only makes sense if vaccinated people can't get the virus. They can. So if you can get it, you could also spread it. So they're going to cave. They don't know what the freak they're doing. They're just trying to bully you like psychos. What happens when you leave the job, someone else comes in, someone vaccinated gets COVID, they shut down the whole office, and now they start testing vaccinated people. And now the booster shot comes out, and now 50% of the office doesn't want to get the booster shot. And now we're going to win this. It's either humanity wins, freedom wins, liberty wins, or we live in a slave world. I won't accept that. I don't think it's going to happen. And the long game is I think that we will win, but it's going to take, enough people just being respectfully, whether you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't care how many you got. At a certain point, you're going to have to say no, unless this is the way you want to live. And if they could put 1 in you, they could put 2. If they could put 2 in you, they could put 3. If they could put 3 in you, they could put 300 in you. And it's not to say that everything's bad, but at what point do you realize that the government and corporations allowing what you do, can they tell you what to eat for lunch? Can they stop you from eating meat? Can they force you to eat vegan? Can they make you take a pill? Your corporation, your boss who doesn't know shit about medicine, of course he can't. So if you allow them to do that, what do you think is going to come next? Living in pods and all this stupid crap. I'm not trying to make a theory out of it, but it's like, they're like, oh, meat is so bad. They're trying to micromanage everything we do. This is authoritarianism. We tell you what's right or wrong. Cigarettes are not really super healthy, especially the mainstream ones with all the crap in it, but people are allowed to smoke cigarettes. That's on them. Some people smoke cigarettes and live till they're 100 years old. Some people smoke cigarettes and they don't. That's their choice. We know that there's pros and cons to it, and you get to decide what you want to do. Does it make life worth living? Maybe you like to go on a motorcycle and have a bogue. That's on you. I don't look down on. I'm like, I get it. I've been there at a certain point, but it's like in general, we know the pros and cons, and everyone makes their own choices. That makes the world go round. We don't want to live in an authoritarian world. Make sure you know that. Make sure your boss knows that. Make sure you get all your ducks in a row, because don't allow them to let you think. Don't allow them to let you think, well, I lost my job. I'm going to lose. I can't work anywhere. It's not going to work like that. Even if you cave, they're going to make you cave again. And they're going to push this so far that you got to understand their business model is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable when the nurses leave. It's not sustainable when the booster shot comes. It's not sustainable when all the positive COVID tests come in the winter among vaccinated people. They're not the winners in this scenario. I'm the winner. I'm not saying I'm the winner, but I'm stepping aside. And if you step aside, you're going to win. They're not going to win this. So whether you do whatever or not, whether you keep your job or not, I pray that you do, because people need money. And if something happens to somebody, I hope you find another job, and I hope you get paid more. But in general, you have to understand that they're not sustainable. They're gonna head fake you like they are. The NFL, Royal Caribbean, I'm not saying they're going down, but it's like they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're switching their policy every other week because they're panicking, because it's all built on a lie. It's a lie to only test unvaccinated people when vaccinated people can get it too. They just want to bully you. They want you to get the product. They want it in your arm. They don't care about the efficacy anymore. They don't care about herd immunity. They don't care who can and can't get it. If everybody can spread it and you're so concerned about, spreading it, then test everybody. If you're not testing everybody, vaccinated, unvaccinated, you're not a scientist. You're an authoritarian psychopath tyrant. I would say be nice at first, but let them know, all the data, all the facts. And that's what I believe. It's like, listen, I might not have all the money, I might not have all the power, but if I have the truth on my side, if I have facts on my side, they can be faced with that moral dilemma to be a wicked person. And, understand that there's wicked people that do wicked things to that many people. They have a lot of bad energy and a lot of bad karma. Some people don't believe in karma religiously, but the religious equivalent to karma, you can't treat people like that forever, whether you go to hell or whether, I'm not God. I'm not at the gates. I don't decide what's right or wrong or what's good or evil. But I do think that treating people that wrong for that long is going to lead to a consequence. And I'm not above anything. That's why I try to watch how I act and how I treat people. But, these bosses, like, I don't know where they think they're going or what they think they're doing. But you got to understand that it's not sustainable what they're doing. And they're going to figure it out the hard way, because once the boosters come and once the positive tests come among the vaccinated, once winter comes, their whole little scheme that they're trying to bully you into now is not going to work, whether you cave or not. So that's my thoughts. Let me know yours. God bless you guys. I appreciate you so much. And that's just my last message. I know a lot of people are facing this. I know it's really tough. I know there's no politicians who are talking about this strongly. I know that there's very few news sources talking about it. And I know that it's the most important issue that millions of people are facing. So I definitely want to do what I can and, just tell you how I'm thinking. I'm not dealing with it, and I understand why people make every decision. But if you're being bullied and there's no one helping you, I try to provide what I can with what I have. So appreciate you guys. God bless you. And I'll be back soon.